We are back. It is the second episode of 2020. We got a great lineup tonight. First up, he's back by popular demand. You know him, you love him. His name is Michael from Retro Blasting.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. It's good to have you back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back, and I appreciate the invite. This is awesome.
And up next is one of the longest-running members of the High Council. You even made it on the poster proper. You know him. Some of you love him. I personally do. His name is Cecil.
Hello.
So, Cecil,
that was a better introduction than you gave me off there, by the way.
That's true. I felt super guilty. I was like, shit, you're available. You're here. Thank you. So, Cecil, what's new, man? We haven't talked since we were at Ethan's, right? Were you on the final episode before The Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I've been house sitting. I'm doing dry January, by the way. I've been not had a drink.
I could not have done that.
And I'm launching my book, Cash Grab, on the 21st. I saw how everything went so smoothly for you, and I was inspired to do a comic book. I was like, wow, that seems really easy and stress-free.
Yeah.
So that's launching on the 21st, and I do have stretch goals because everybody look at the chat right now. So Sober Cecil, booze. Sober Cecil killed my dreams. Everybody hates Sober Cecil. Nobody likes Sober Cecil. People told somebody said Sober Cecil caused AIDS, and somebody asked me to drown myself.
Cecil, believe in your liver, even if no one else does.
So nobody does. So on the 21st, I will have a stretch goal. If I hit 10,000, I will have a double whiskey rocks, since on air, you know what I mean? And if I hit 20, I'll have 2, and so on.
What's your brand?
I got a bottle of Bullet here right now that I'm staring at it right now. I'm dying. Wow. And now I'm doing to compensate for the fact that I haven't been drinking for 2 weeks. I've fucking just been eating like an asshole. So I put on some weight. So I just started a fast. So I'm on 48 hours fast right now, and fucking sober. So life sucks, basically. To answer to your question.
I'm sorry I even asked.
That's what I'm doing.
Oh, Cecil, since you brought up the comic book, somebody bought one off of eBay of mine. I was like, that's kind of weird that there's a second-hand market for that comic.
Those are going to be famous. Those are the way shit works. You know, it's the fucking Star Wars figure with the misprint. That's the one that everybody like. Yeah, there's a story here. There's history with that book.
It blows me away because I'm always the guy that's reading about it, and I'm like, I guess it is kind of cool to be the one that's making the thing that people are dying to have. So I guess by the time your campaign ends, I'll do my relaunch, and there we go.
Awesome.
And I'll give you a copy. I'll give you one of the original copies. That way you can have one of the same for you, Michael, since you're a collector, one of the rare they messed up my print run copy.
Nice. Awesome.
I would love it. Thank you.
So let's see, guys. There's a lot to talk about. Last week's show was a lot of fun. Mecca's away, so she will not be joining us tonight. It is just the three of us. I did put out a feeler, so the link is out there, so some people could join if they want. They have the link. But tonight we're going to be talking about Star Wars Episode 9, Duel of Fates. Yes, there is an alternate Star Wars Episode 9. You didn't step in a wormhole. You didn't wake up in a different dimension. Apparently, the Colin Trevorrow script leaked, and there's another Episode 9 out there, or was going to be another Episode 9. So tonight we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the crazy shit I mentioned in the tweet, so you're going to have to stay tuned for that for a little bit. And we have a couple other Star Wars-related topics that are going to be a lot of fun. So before we start, folks, hit that thumbs up button, because this Saturday I will be back in the Eastern time zone for the whole weekend. That's what Saturday is and Sunday. Point is, I'll be back, and if we hit 1,000 thumbs up, we get to the 1,000 people, Good Morning Pop Culture will come back, and it'll be fun. So if you want that to happen, just hit that thumbs up button. And without any further ado, let's start the show. So Cecil, I haven't talked to you since it came out. What were your thoughts on The Rise of Skywalker?
Wow, what's to say? Perfect movie. Great way to wrap up the trilogy. No, it was garbage. It was fucking laughable shit. And when I started realizing that a lot of those leaks were true as it was going on, I couldn't fucking believe it. But I did notice something that slipped through. There was actually a very positive Second Amendment message in that movie. For real, this is not a joke.
Okay.
There's a part at the end where Poe is he's watching them get decimated. No one showed up, and then all of a sudden Lando shows up with 1 million ships. How many fucking people were? How the fuck did they keep all those spaceships under the ocean? Anyway, I hated every minute of that movie. But anyway, the one part was all the civilians show up in their civilian gunships, and the guy goes, "Wait, they don't have a navy." And then he says, "This isn't a navy. This is just people." And I was like, "Well, this is just people fucking fighting against an oppressive government fucking that's taken." Anyway, that was
so basically they ripped one of the they almost ripped one of the better lines from Dunkirk and then applied it to a battle of in other words, the ships that show up in Dunkirk are not there to fight, they're there to rescue. But the ships in this show, which are just people and not an armada, are there to tear everything up. That's
right.
Great.
Civilian gunships came and took out the massive Imperial, army. So it showed, that everybody's mad at me for being sober. I'm sorry for making thoughts like this.
You get one.
I hit myself over the head with a hammer. That might count as something.
Yeah, but you might never recover from that. You can wake up from a drunken stupor. Brain damage is permanent.
You're a good life coach.
You know what? YouTube's been great. I'm going to keep at it, but I think I'm going to branch out and become a life coach just for you, Steve. Life coach Jeff.
I'll keep you fucking busy, pal.
Hey, you got my phone number. You can call me.
Ring. The fuck does he want now?
The worst part is you're on a different time zone than me, so you'll be calling me in the morning when you wake up need something. It's like 5 a.m. here. I'm like, dude, what? So I'll be a terrible life coach. I take that back.
Red or the blue tie?
What color socks?
White always.
Then I don't think you need to wear a tie.
White socks, black shoes. That's my look.
All right, Elwood. So, Michael, you had a chance to read this. We're going to go into it in depth, but just briefly, when you saw this, what did you think?
There is nowhere you can go from Rise of Skywalker but up, but that's not saying much because I was actually confused reading it. We'll get into the details, obviously, but I was really confused when I was reading it. I read it 3 times because they kept saying this is Colin Trevorrow's script. And I was like, it seems like all the stuff he claims to have fought for in Last Jedi, he only fought for post Carrie Fisher's death, not before. Because it seems like his script is still trying to pick up the pieces from that crap fest that is The Last Jedi. And so my overall impression was that while it's certainly better than the committee written and butchered Rise of Skywalker nonsensical garbage that we ended up getting, it's still not a watchable conclusion to a terrible trilogy.
I read this twice and I couldn't tell if it was real or not. So
yeah,
I liked it more than what we saw on screen.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Let's just start sharing it with the people because there's 830 people watching right now.
Can I ask you a question, Jeff? Which one did you like better, Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker?
I think they're both terrible movies.
No, come on,
for different reasons.
What's the better movie?
Okay, I guess. Okay, this is hard because visually, Last Jedi looks better than Rise of Skywalker. Tonally, I'll put it like this. The spirit behind the Rise of Skywalker is less mean-spirited than The Last Jedi. Last Jedi feels like some nerd who's just trying to stick it to people.
That's exactly what it is. The Last Jedi feels it's hateful. It's like this is a person who has contempt for Star Wars, the property and its audience. So
and then episode 9 feels like a film by committee that has no vision whatsoever. We've talked about the JJ cut with the Force. So I'm almost like torn to say which is worse because I think they're equally bad, but for different reasons. So to answer your question, Cecil, honestly, I have to ask myself, what's the more heinous offense? To be mean-spirited and to be like Rian Johnson, or to be so mismanaged and disorganized and give us trash like J.J. Abrams? So it's hard. They both suck. I don't like either one. Episode 7's bad too, but for different reasons. So
I know this has been said a billion times, so forgive me, but it still boggles my mind that they would pay $4 billion for this property and begin a trilogy without writing it out first. Like, without fucking writing out the 3 parts and say, give it to each director. Here, this is the story. But
yeah, it's hubris.
It's hubris. It's hard to believe that you would spend $4 billion on something and treat it any worse than this. They couldn't have treated it any worse. They couldn't have treated the audience any worse. They couldn't have treated the property, the characters, the actors. They couldn't have treated it worse. I mean, it's fucking hard to believe.
Yeah, and it's crazy that Disney, which is known for pandering and wanting to make money, like in everything they do, including Marvel and everything else, even though they've found a way to make it palatable in some cases, like with some of the Marvel films.
But look how much planning went in. Like Kevin,
right,
you had
right.
So you're talking about Disney, who just made a mint. I mean, they have Marvel. Mm-hmm. They just wrote a universe. There's never been a universe with 20 movies that are interconnected. There, each movie affects the next movie. They just did it. They had the blueprint in front of them for fucking 20 movies, and for them to just go fucking willy-nilly into this, like, I don't give a shit. It's just hard to believe that fucking the same company did those 2 things.
Well, they knew enough. They knew enough to know that if we put Han, Luke, and Leia in the trailer or hint that they're in this next movie 7, that it will bring everybody out. But then our next decision is to systematically kill those characters and keep them apart. It's like, I thought you guys wanted to print money. Now you're just making everybody really angry. I don't understand what your end game is here.
I still haven't figured out. I can't figure out their theme parks, the way they're keeping the original characters out. They're making everything so unappealing and unlikable, and I can't fucking wrap my mind around it. Like,
well, I think they're panicking, because I just saw an article 2 days ago that said suddenly out of nowhere R2-D2 is now roaming around Galaxy's Edge, where he wasn't before. Like, an official Disney R2-D2 is now at Galaxy's Edge theme park.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Is there like a little man in there, like Kenny Baker, or is it?
I think it's a radio-controlled jobby. Yeah.
See, that kind of stuff right there. People say, "Oh, you read into everything too much, Jeff." Yeah, but little things like that, there are cracks that have always been there, and they're starting to widen a bit. Because when in doubt, original trilogy. That's, Michael, you've collected toys. You know what's up. You follow the Hasbro stuff. When in doubt, throw the original trilogy out there.
Yep.
Power of the Jedi line that came out in 1999, right after, because we had the Phantom Menace line, all episode 1 stuff. And it's like, well, there's really not much from the original trilogy. Boom, there we go. Let's do this. It integrates both. And I don't think there was ever a series of toys, essentially, that didn't have original trilogy with prequel stuff. So
right.
Disney's following same suit with the Galaxy's Edge. It's like, hey, we need this original trilogy, because people look at R2-D2, even somebody like me who likes R2-D2, doesn't love him, and goes, oh, cool, it's R2-D2. This is Star Wars. I'm kind of there emotionally. So,
but that's where I don't understand the lack of desperation play, the lack of survival instincts, because even if we take Last Jedi as it came out in theaters, let's pretend that there was no opportunity for them to edit in post after Carrie Fisher's death, even though we know there was. Let's pretend that window didn't exist. Last Jedi comes out exactly as it is. Carrie Fisher dies. And there was no discussion behind the scenes of going, you know what? Luke Skywalker didn't die in a conventional way, the way Rian Johnson did it. Maybe we should just say that he went on a Force trip and have him come back in this next film.
They could have fixed it. I agree. They could have had him in like that sacred fucking cave.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, he had to go there to recharge the force or something.
Yeah. He went on a force Skype with somebody and came back. It's like, why was that not? Who was so adamant about keeping Luke Skywalker dead that they didn't allow that to happen? Like, that had to have been a deliberate decision, because I would think every instinct in me, especially as a corporate flack, you know, at a major studio, would be like, crap, get Luke Skywalker alive in that next movie at the very beginning. I don't care what you have to do. They went the hard way and the nonsensical way from the very first line of the crawl, and it just kept breaking in on itself with each minute that it played out. It was just like, wow, you think we broke it in this scene? Wait till the next scene.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
It's like it's a hold my beer. So you brought up the word crawl, folks. Let's start reading the crawl for this. You ready?
Yep.
Now, this is over on the Reddit Star Wars Leaks. It comes from Robert Myers-Burnett. So excuse me. So you guys can check out his live stream. The link is in the description here on the Reddit post. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the crawl, and then we're going to go into the summary, because this is kind of long, and this is not EFAP. I don't want to be here for 6 hours because Michael has a life. Cecil's sober, so he's got something to do. And I guess I would like to sleep at some point. So
I'll keep my mouth shut. I know what you're trying to say.
No. So here we go, folks. This is the crawl. The iron grip of the First Order has spread to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Only a few scattered planets remain unoccupied. Traitorous acts are punishable by death. Determined to suffocate a growing unrest, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren has silenced all communication between neighboring systems. Led by General Leia Organa, the Resistance has planned a secret mission to prevent their annihilation and forge a path to freedom. So right there, we have a better crawl than "The Dead Speak."
Right. That's true.
So when I saw the original Reddit leak post that turned out to be true for The Rise of Skywalker, and it said the crawl is "The Dead Speak," there's a secret transmission from Palpatine. I'm like, this is bad fan fiction.
Mm-hmm.
This could be good fan fiction, but this, whatever I just read to you, in my opinion, is better than what was on the screen last month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't understand one thing about this crawl, and of course about Rise of Skywalker as well. How is this trilogy continuing to justify the strength of the First Order? Because at the end of the first movie, their whole base got blown up. Their biggest weapon, boom, gone. Pow, bam, gone. At the end of the second movie, they lose their leader and their fleet because Holdo does the hyperspace maneuver and blows them all up. Blam! So why are they still so powerful at the beginning of this film? I don't understand where they keep getting their endless resources. Because theoretically, ostensibly,
came into power.
The Republic. You're right. Well, we can't even. We're not even going to attempt that. But like Coruscant, right? Theoretically, Coruscant should be occupied by the Republic, because the Republic won in Return of the Jedi 30 years ago. So why is suddenly the First Order? How have they managed, after all the awful losses they've taken, how have they managed to just subjugate the whole galaxy again? I don't understand how they're getting away with this logic problem.
I mean, listen, this hammers in, where, the saying about Star Wars being, a dumbed down, and Trek is smart. Star Wars, this was just nailed it down. It's dumb. Like, yeah. The First Order, how the fuck did they ever... How did they get that gigantic under the Republic? Doesn't make any fucking sense. Then while that was being built, Palpatine was also fucking building a bigger fucking The Last Order.
Right.
It just impossible. It doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. There's no story behind it, how it came about. It just is. Don't worry, the dummies will eat this up.
It's just like at the end of every script, they pull the cartridge out and blow on it and put it back in and hit reset. Yeah. And it's like, what are we doing here? Anyway, sorry.
People might ask where these ships came from. It's like, no one's going to ask that. No one's going to care. We'll put a new robot there that looks like a hard drive. No one's gonna fucking ask that. They'll ride horses on the side of a battle spaceship. No one's gonna ask where the ships came from. We'll give them the old razzle dazzle. No one will ask questions.
You know, the space horses, while offensive, weren't the worst thing in that movie. No. It was dumb, but there were dumber moments.
Why would you bother bringing a horse to a fucking air battle?
I don't know if they were trying to be like, what's the last thing we've never used in a Star Wars movie during a space battle? It's like, well, horses, of course. So
I don't know. Somebody on the ground was like, hey, you know what? I want to kill all these horses. How should we do it? It's like, let's drop them from a really high fucking height. It's okay, load them up. Let's have them run on the outside of a spaceship that we're trying to blow up.
We'll get into more Rise of Skywalker stuff. Let's read about the film that never was. You guys ready?
I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah, don't shut up. I want you to chime in on this. Cecil.
I will break in every 2 seconds.
All right. There's no middle ground. The First Order tracks down stolen Star Destroyer to Kor Alaf. Resistance escapes. So I've never heard of that planet. I assume it's new. Maybe it's from EU, and I'm just uncultured. Team A successfully infiltrated.
Oh, wait. Oh, I thought we were opening at the Kuat shipyards.
Oh, I was just going to... Oh, you want me to go? Okay.
Well, no. I'm sorry. If you want to start where you're going to go, hold on just 1 second. I just wanted to point out, and I apologize, this is not Rise of Skywalker. This is about this script. I had hope with this opening line that said opens at the Kuat shipyards, because that is a reference to the Kuat drive yards, which was in the original Star Wars role-playing game from 1987 as where the Star Destroyers and the AT-AT walkers were built. And so I was like, oh, Colin Trevorrow is trying to bring back the real shit. Like he's doing something here. But then it didn't really go anywhere. So please start from where you wanted to start.
No, I'm going to go back to there because I realized and stuff. So I'm going to do it that way because it makes sense. Plus it opens up for discussion now. Why did Colin Trevorrow leave again? We cover so much stuff that I forget.
By the way, Jeff, did you know that about the shipyards?
I did not.
I knew about the shipyards because I was obsessed with the Star Wars role-playing game from the late 80s into the early 90s when I lived in England as a kid. I loved it, and I've still got all the books. And George Lucas actually took those source books and gave them to Timothy Zahn so that Timothy Zahn could write the Thrawn trilogy back in the early 90s and have that as details about the universe. He liked it so much. So it's clear that somewhere at Lucasfilm, they're still using that, even though they claimed to have thrown all of that stuff away.
Wasn't Pablo Hidalgo hired as the continuity guy because he was a fan of that stuff and then brought in to help, keep it organized?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it opens at the Kuat shipyards, man on a mission style. BB-8 and Rose Tico, allegedly a key character in this script, are infiltrating the Kuat moon where the First Order builds their ships. Workers are oppressed. There is an orbital ring and a moon below it. Finn and Poe are there. No R2 or 3PO. Rey arrives. So Rose Tico, real quick. This clearly had to be written before episode 8 came out because Rose Tico was, in a minute and 38 seconds of the film? Mm-hmm. So they thought she had potential back then. Let's see. The plan. Send explosives into the power shaft to deliver raw ore to the ring. The plan goes wrong. First Order is able to contain the blast. Admiral Vaughn says resistance tactics are pitiful. Rey, disguised as a Tusken Raider, is revealed to have created her own weapon, a double-bladed lightsaber, hybrid of her staff and Luke's cracked lightsaber. They battle and Poe, Finn, Rose and Rey, and BB-8 steal a Star Destroyer, Eclipse class, and escape.
So it only takes 5 people to steal a Star Destroyer. Okay.
Because you wouldn't think it would be their man. It isn't like... I guarantee if 5 of us tried to take a naval ship, we wouldn't even get on board.
Right. I mean, I'm thinking back to Star Trek 3 where, Scotty had to automate the entire Enterprise just to get them out of dry dock or space dock. And afterwards, he's like, look, we don't have a lot of control over this thing. We can literally steer and go forwards and backwards. If we get into combat, we're screwed. So, yeah. Okay, never mind. I'm going to shut up.
No, I need you guys to bounce off of this stuff.
Because that was smart, and this is dumb.
So, the Knife Nine, a ship containing the Knights of Ren, arrives at Kuat. Atasca, Ren kills Admiral Vaughn for his failure. So, okay. The Knights of Ren, they were really pushing hard for that stuff. I still don't think they ever delivered with the characters. What do you guys think?
No. But was that who Kylo was fighting at the end there?
Yeah.
Yeah, who gave a shit? It was a meaningless scene. They didn't
modern Star Wars, by modern I mean Disney Star Wars, is the king of building up characters that are going to be amazing and then are nothing, like Constable Zuvio or Rostico. Or
Captain Phasma.
Oh my god, they tried twice with her and it didn't work.
It didn't work.
It's funny, I go to like these Five Below stores and there's all these Captain Phasma dolls just sitting there for $5 that nobody wants. It's like...
Well, when the character doesn't have any importance. When I was a kid, Dengar was a peg warmer. Why? Because Dengar didn't look cool, didn't have any lines, and didn't do anything in The Empire Strikes Back. But he wasn't hyped either. It's not like they marketed Empire Strikes Back as the Dengar movie, So
yeah, Finn, they fucked up so badly with. I'm sorry.
No, they did. Yeah, you're right.
On the channel, Jeff, I forget.
I'm sorry, what?
I could curse, right?
Yes, it's the channel's called World Class Bullshitters.
They totally fucked up. And Phasma, like the Finn Phasma thing, could have actually been really interesting. That really could have been done right with a writer or somebody who gave a shit about what they were doing. That could have been a really good rivalry. It could have been done well, but it was like laughable at the end. It was a BB-8 riding a fucking AT-AT. It was so stupid. It was embarrassing.
Yep.
I completely forgot about that, actually. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. That's called a survival instinct, Jeff. Your brain shuts that kind of stuff down.
I needed it. Now, Cecil, to answer your question, Last Jedi is probably the worst one. I forgot about BB-8 in the Walker. So, let's see. Cut to Coruscant, a planet we never saw in the any more films. No longer a vibrant city, the new structures are built atop the Art Deco structure of the Old Republic, occupied by the First Order now. They have a citadel/palace there. Citizens are scavengers. Hux is now Chancellor Hux and is addressing Bisk Kova, traitor who helped Resistance steal the Star Destroyer. Kova is executed with a light blade guillotine. This sounds like a really cool scene, actually. So I was under the guise when I first saw it that Coruscant was the planet that was blown up in Episode 7. Remember the one where they showed the lady that looked like Martha Jones from Doctor Who die?
Yep.
I was like, oh, there goes Coruscant. Okay, that's kind of cool. I guess it wasn't Coruscant, so I was wrong all that time.
Well, that was one of the problems with JJ's movie, was that he didn't establish anything. And so remember all those articles that came out after Episode 7? JJ Abrams explains this about Episode 7. JJ Abrams explains this about Force Awakens. JJ Abrams explains that fork in the background of the one scene in Force Awakens. Like, everything had to be explained after the fact, and it came out very quickly that no, that wasn't Coruscant, that was another planet. And I'm like, well, then if it wasn't Coruscant, why was the Republic suddenly so weak because that one little planet got blown up? He doesn't have an answer. He's all into mysteries with no answers.
But Michael, it's a story for another time.
Yeah, the whole trilogy is a story for another time.
Yeah. It was a waste of how much did I spend to go see these movies? About $45 roughly.
Mm-hmm.
I want my $45 back.
Yeah, I'll spend that another time.
So I know we covered it last week, Michael, but Cecil, have you heard anything about the new Disney timeline for Star Wars?
No, I haven't.
So
I know about the Mandalorian that's already being worked on, and that's about it. I don't know anything about the movies.
Well, it's like an in-universe timeline. So originally it was always ABY and BBY, after Battle of Yavin, before Battle of Yavin. And last week we had seen not a leak, but a thing come out. I think Star Wars Explained made a video about it, where it's now before Starkiller Incident and after Starkiller Incident. But my point I want to get at is, according to that timeline, Episode 7 and 8 take place right after each other, like we always thought. And then it's 1 year until the Rise of Skywalker took place. So if we follow that same timeline for this script, roughly, A lot's gone down for Hux. He's now Chancellor Hux. Instead of he's the spy, he's a Grand Chancellor, and he's dealing with this stuff. This scene to me sounds cool. A light blade guillotine would have been unique to Star Wars.
It follows Chancellor. It follows Hux's character arc from Force Awakens. If you ignore the mischaracterization of him in Last Jedi, in Force Awakens, one of the criticisms of the movie was how over the top he was as this kind of fascist dictator. Right. So it would only make sense that he would become Chancellor. So clearly Colin was paying attention to what happened in Force Awakens, and we all know Rian Johnson, like Cecil said, was just being mean and just tearing everything up.
Did you see today there's more rumors that Rian Johnson's still talking about his trilogy? It's like, it's not happening. Can we just let it go? We need like a 5-year Star Wars hiatus, Disney.
Would you really be shocked if it wasn't happening? If he got it, like, at this point?
If they make those movies, I will eat my own hat. I don't expect that to happen anytime soon.
What a 1920s threat that was.
Well, it's the 2020s, so I'm going back 100 years, man.
I'll eat my hat if that Rian Johnson gets it.
Hey, Prohibition's 100th anniversary is this week. You're on a dry month, so hey, we've come full circle, Cecil.
Wow, you're right.
Yeah. Let's see. Hux and Commander Selleck have a meeting with several alien warlords, ode to a New Hope Imperial Council scene. First Order has allies. They are aware of Rey being the last Jedi. The Council wants to know where Kylo Ren is. He is missing. Hux only knows where he has gone for. He's gone for searching for something of great power. We cut to Mustafar. Kylo Ren is alone, except for a Darth Maul-esque droid. He has a subtle indicating, or he has stubble indicating he's been searching for a long time. Ren is being haunted by Luke's Force ghost. And this is what Luke says. This is where the dark path leads, an empty tomb. Kylo retorts, where did your path lead? Luke is trying to convince him to go back to Leia. Kylo says, I'm going to be more powerful than any Jedi, even you. So, do we like the idea of a Force ghost Luke Skywalker haunting, in quotation marks, Kylo Ren?
Point of order, does Commander Selleck have a badass mustache?
If he doesn't, it's the greatest missed opportunity in Disney Star Wars.
Okay, all right, just wanted to ask that.
You should just have Tom Selleck play Commander Selleck.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd watch that.
He was almost Indiana Jones, so why not give him a shot at Star Wars?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I like the idea of. I wish Luke was actually like alive, but again, the date for the script was a week before Carrie Fisher's death, according to the draft date. So maybe that was when Trevorrow started the campaign to try and get Luke brought back in real form and get Rian to edit the movie, and that's when Kathleen Kennedy let him go for that argument, from what we've heard. But given that Luke is dead at this point in Colin's mind, and I'm going to call him Colin because I don't want to keep pronouncing his last name. I like the fact that he's kind of harassing and trolling Kylo from beyond the grave. You know, I like that a little bit because I hate Kylo Ren and I like Luke. So
that seems very Luke Skywalker to do. Like, well, to me, it reminds me of something Mark Hamill would do. Like, if he were to die and come back as a ghost, he would just like egg you on.
Yes, exactly.
Speaking of the ghosts, why were there no other? Wasn't the whole thing about Obi-Wan was the one who discovered, like, oh no, it wasn't Obi-Wan. It was
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon, yeah. The Force ghost. And he's like, I'll be more powerful. You strike me down, I'm more powerful. So they're saying that they have command in the physical world, but can't be hurt as Force ghosts. So that makes them. So at this final fucking battle, why wasn't Yoda and Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, why weren't all just an entire fucking army of Jedis there?
Well, in today's video, I actually talked about that. Because
there was going to be a test.
Oh, yes, there's always a test on the High Council, Cecil. No, but in all seriousness, I covered that on the video today because, so if you watched episode 9, folks, Rey is down, beaten. She's fought Palpatine. He's winning, and she hears all these voices of fallen Jedi. And we actually learned that Ahsoka Tano has died, even though we don't know how she dies. She's dead at this point in time. Long story short, though, according to the old Reddit leaks about the JJ cut, there was a small snippet about how the Force Ghosts were supposed to be seen. They weren't just meant to be audio. They were meant to be visual. They filmed scenes. We heard something about how Hayden Christensen was upset because his stuff wasn't used. There was all kinds of stuff that was meant to be in that final scene. But word on the street is that it was cut out for China. And in today's video, I actually went into detail about, when a studio tries to cater to the Chinese market, how it can backfire, like Transformers. At first, it seems great, and it seems like this really rich opportunity to expand your brand. But in the long run, China will dump you quickly, and you're left with your dick in your hand, and you don't really have anywhere to go. Now, the funny thing with Star Wars is, while it worked the first time for The Force Awakens, we saw a significant decrease from each Star Wars film from the Chinese market. They showed less and less interest. So, according to, again, the Reddit stuff, if we're going by the word on the street, it's really an odd choice and maybe an attempt to try to ingratiate yourself to the Chinese audience one more time, or the government, whoever approves with the choices creatively. And if you look even deeper, the stuff they talk about with the Force seems to make sense. How they've altered it, how Luke can hand Leia's lightsaber, and how you can touch people through the Force and move objects, like literally, like they'll like teleport through the Force. It became something else because if we watch A New Hope, it's referred to as a religion by the guy on the Death Star, as well as Han Solo. He calls it a religion as well. And, Grand Moff Tarkin says it too. So, I mean, it's become something else to become more palatable to the part of the world that doesn't necessarily buy into the spiritual nature of the West and all that stuff like that, and Star Wars in general. But, sorry, Cecil, but yes, those Force Ghosts, the things that you want to see were supposed to be in it, allegedly. And maybe the JJ cut will have them.
The Chinese audience is not hungry for stuff that's been approved. I think it bores them once they realize stuff has been watered down for them. They don't want that shit. Like they lose interest when they know, it's edited for China, or they want what the rest of the world is getting. You know what I mean? Or they want what, like Joker, what didn't play in China, right? How'd that do? Did it do?
I don't
think. It's over $1 billion on what, a $50 million budget. I mean, that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
If you adjust for that, it's probably in the top, 5 comic book movies. And they didn't do anything. They didn't change it for China. It's like, fuck you, China. Like, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Bending to a fucking totalitarian regime, how is that going to help your movie? How is that going to help the art of your movie if you're bending to the will of dictators in your content?
Well, I think what it boils down to for them, and I'm being Captain Obvious here, but they don't really care about the sanctity of the artistic expression. They just, if they think that there are more potential people to put their butts in seats in China versus the other markets, that's what they're going to aim for, even if they don't have a clue how to get Chinese people in those seats.
They did it for 3 movies in a row where they bent to the will of China. How is their returns in China for those 3 bent?
Oh yeah, it's never worked. Like, it's never worked. It absolutely. But they're fixated on it because Transformers did well allegedly in China.
Quentin Tarantino told them to go fuck themselves with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They wanted edits, and he said no. Like, they should just be like, no. And let the people in China be like, hey, this is bullshit. We're missing out on Star Wars. We're missing out on so much shit that's going on in the world. And, have them bend their rules to let this shit in.
I mean, you're preaching to the choir here, but like what Disney makes.
Sometimes I wonder, you commie.
Well, I just like Disney. Sometimes the stuff they create is not art. It's very produced packages to sell.
Right. So it's product. It's not good product either. If it's not art, then it's product. And if it's product, it's poor product. It's not selling well.
No, it is not.
So you sacrifice any art or any storytelling to make it product that doesn't sell.
I mean, look at The Force Awakens made like $120 million in China. The Rise of Skywalker is at like 20, I believe. Last time I checked, it was at $18 million. And it keeps making less and less each week. I mean, The Rise of Skywalker hasn't even crossed $1 billion worldwide, and we're almost, what are we in, week 4?
Yeah.
Did it in 2. Avengers did it like over the course of a weekend in a couple days. I mean, Disney has these properties that have real demand, but these other properties also don't push back. I mean, I'm working on a Marvel video, and I was reading how these people talk about Marvel fans that were passionate about Tom Holland Spider-Man. They said each person on social media is a ticket buyer who wants their voice heard. But when it's talked about with Star Wars fans, you're a toxic vocal minority, you're a man baby, you're this, you're that. So, I mean, we've never had a company not only push back so hard, but like just the message is wrong from the very beginning.
Yeah, I mean, they can't stop. There's no course correcting at all. They just keep fucking going down the same failing road over and over and over again. I don't get it. I would just say, China, this is the movie. If you want to let it be shown, let it be. And yeah, make them change. Make them change. That would do some good for the world, Disney. Like, make the fucking government be like, you know, if they're hearing it from the people, like, we can't even see fucking space movies. We're being fucking coddled that much and protected and isolated that much. We can't even see children's space movies. Basically, I'm sorry, I know people get mad, but I'm saying, you know, did you cut out or was I saying something so profound?
Oh, no, the internet here is dog shit. So if I randomly like talk over somebody, it's because there's a long silence on my end.
Okay.
But keep going, Cecil.
It's California.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the state's on fire. The internet sucks.
Weather's
I don't know why I'm here.
Weather's nice, though.
Dude, it was warmer in Ohio over the weekend.
Well, my point was just tell them to go fuck themselves, and they'll come to you. And there'll be more of a demand for it. That's the whole thing. They're bending it, and the Chinese audience is like, this has been watered down for us already. You know, and we know where there'll be a demand. They'll have to answer the demand. They want to make money. Chinese are you know, capitalists. They're merchants. For thousands of years, it's a merchant civilization. So they want to make fucking money. And if people are like, hey, we can't sell our wares here, then we won't. So I don't know. I just think the way they're going about it is such shit. Everything they're doing is shit. But with Marvel, everything they're doing is right so far, except for fucking Captain Marvel. But I don't know. Wait, what about the Captain America movies? Did those play in China?
All I know is that they changed the name in some parts of the world to just the first Avenger for the first Captain America. And that's all I know. I haven't really
90 minutes of him being shot by the Red Army.
Yeah, I guess they would cut those.
I mean, the guy's literally dressed in an American flag, fucking running around. I mean, he was designed to be propaganda. His backstory is that he's propaganda. I mean, I'm wondering, was that shit played, and was Captain America a movie that played in China?
Let me look real quick for you, man.
That's a real easy way, you know, to get Star Wars to really play in China. All you got to do is get Mark Wahlberg and get your giant robots.
Well, they put that Rose Tico character. I don't understand. Should have gone over to like Gangbusters.
Make it like, you know, Star Wars, Revenge of the Fallen. It's going to be great. Have some Transformers. It's going to be amazing.
So is it wrong that when I Google Captain America Chinese box office, it gives me the Captain Marvel one as the first thing?
Yeah, it's
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Google has always been fucking with you. Don't you mean Captain Marvel? Isn't that the one you like? No.
Well, look, Cecil, to answer your question, Captain America movies do open in China and are successful.
Wow. So, I mean, that's a propaganda like symbol. Like, it's a guy in a fucking Star-Spangled Avenger, you know?
I don't get it. But, folks, if you want to hear me go deeper into the China stuff, I have the full video. It's about 12 minutes long. It's all exclusively Star Wars and a little bit of Transformers to make a comparison. But I really want to get the discussion on that one up because nobody else is really talking about this. People wonder why the Force and Star Wars and stuff is so different. And I think it's a pretty valid reason why it's different. So,
by the way, Draxel is 6 is saying no, Kelly is Vietnamese. Yeah, I'm aware she's Vietnamese, but I'm just saying the meatheads in Hollywood were like, just put an Asian woman. You know, no one will care. It'll just be Asian representation. They don't know about that part of the world because they're actually really like racist against each other. Like Chinese look down on Vietnamese will look down on Cambodia. Like there is a lot of racism in those countries. So they think like, so we'll just put an Asian looking woman and that'll just placate China. That's good enough. Like as if they wouldn't be able to fucking tell the nationality of somebody.
The world's a weird place, and but Hollywood's perfect, right? No. So let's get back to this. You guys ready?
I'm ready.
Holocron, which reveals a hologram of Palpatine. The recording is for Vader. Palpatine has a contingency for Vader if Luke kills him. Vader is to take Luke to the Remencore system, to see Tor Valum, Master of Sith and Palpatine's teacher. So, okay, that actually is a pretty loaded little paragraph right there. Contingency plan is much better than a live Palpatine. Did they ever announce, or in the movie, how do they explain Palpatine's still alive?
They
dark forces, dark magic.
Yeah, the dark side is a pathway to many abilities some would consider unnatural. Like they just use these vagaries to suggest that they don't even make it clear whether or not he actually is a clone of himself or if he's the dude that fell down the Death Star shaft and escaped in an escape pod or something. But they don't ever define how he's alive.
Kind of allude that he's a clone, but then why would he clone such a crappy version of himself?
Right.
It looks cooler this way.
And if you can clone Snokes, why are you bothering to build 1,000 Star Destroyers when you could clone 1,000 Dark Jedi with ultimate powers?
Fuck yeah, exactly. Nothing makes. That's why when you knew like the shipbuilding yard and all these people who know the lore, it's like now it's handed over to people who don't give a shit. You memorized and you learned and you were interested in this thing that means nothing to them. Like it's all just shit. Why? Where the ships come? They came from fucking my ass. That's where they came from. How'd the First Order come to power? Because they did. Stupid. Shut up. Like. But I know the shipyard names and I know the guy who designed the R2 units. It's like, yeah, you do. I don't give a shit. You're dumb for knowing that. And fuck you.
Right.
Sorry, you got me off guard, Cecil. So I like the idea of the contingency plan. I like the whole you're going to go see Palpatine's teacher thing, but it was always implied that Darth Plagueis was Palpatine's master. Wasn't it?
The Wise?
Yeah, the Wise. Yes, the Wise. I thought you said he was. Yeah. I guess he wasn't because I thought it was always implied, and I guess through the comic book it was confirmed that
Palpatine. Nah, cut that. We're gonna make it.
They just do dumb shit.
No one remembers Plagueis. Just put Snoke in. He's cooler.
Was it established in or in Revenge of the Sith that Plagueis was his master, or was it just established that he was this legendary Sith Lord?
I don't think it was ever like confirmed. I was always under the assumption like the story he was telling, he was the apprentice that killed him and all this shit. I always, when I watched the movie, I was like, oh, is Palpatine telling the story of how he killed his master?
Yeah, doesn't. Yeah, right. Don't you have to kill your master? Isn't that like part of the thing though? Like with Sith?
Maybe it would just be like, why would you ever take an apprentice then?
Well, yeah, I mean, it could be interpreted one of two ways. Either he killed his master Plagueis, or he's telling the story. It's like a Sith campfire story. Hey, we all, talk about this dude named Plagueis. He was like our Genghis Khan or something like that. He was the guy at the very beginning that started it all. I guess there's two ways to look at it.
In the people in the chat are saying in the books it is confirmed he was his master. That's correct.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the EU books though, not or wait, was it the EU books right before they got canceled, or was it pro Disney canon books? I wonder.
The folks in the chat will know better than me. I've only read a handful of the books, even though one of Jesse's listeners sent the something Jedi trilogy. So start reading that.
Right.
I don't know. But so far what I'm reading, I'm liking the Kylo stuff more than the stuff that's in the actual movie. But it also seems... Okay.
No, I was just going to say, it's also nice that, like, to your point about Kylo's scenes, the holocron here is not a MacGuffin. It's just a communicator. It's just an old recording. It's not some sort of Goonies dagger that they have to take somewhere and do a thing with. It's just, he just found the last message. That's it. And then the message says what you got to do. There's no puzzle. There's no wayfinder. There's no Zelda, stuff. It's just a movie.
Yep, it's less video game like.
Yeah.
But I guess that's another way for Disney to appeal to today's generation. It's like, we're going to have it be like a video game. We're going to put the characters in Fortnite. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. It's like...
But isn't that such a fuddy-duddy way to approach making them movies for them young whippersnappers? It's like you see kids playing video games, therefore you think kids want their movies to be like video games. And it's like, that's not necessarily true. Kids like video games because of the way they play, the way they interact with them, the way they can, live vicariously through the action and stuff like that. Whereas in movies, to live vicariously through the action and through the drama, you have to execute it in a completely different fashion. Well, I don't know.
I got into video games because it was a socially acceptable way for me to shoot hookers.
I took out my anger in grade school, GoldenEye, shooting Russian soldiers. So after scanning Kylo, the holocron explodes, releases red lightning, which burns him, and he screams. So that's the weird transition. Then we cut to the Resistance base on Kor Alaf. Leia is introduced as she feels what's happening to Ben. Chewbacca and Lieutenant Connix tell Leia that the Kuat team is back. They are shocked to see a Star Destroyer, which has landed onto the planet. It's a funny moment with Rey using a mind trick on the first officers who were still on the ship. Rey confides in Finn that she doesn't feel like she has what it takes to be a Jedi and can't live up to everyone's expectations. Finn asks her if she still senses Kylo. Rey confesses she's been having nightmares. Finn asks if it's Kylo. Rey says she can't explain their connection. And this is Finn's response. You have to shut him out. You can't change, it's too late. Rey says it's never too late to change. You taught me that, Finn. Any comments on that part? It just seems kind of like more fluff crap with her.
I mean, I like the fact that Rey is quoting an old Kylie Minogue song there. It's never too late. We've still got time. Never too late to change your mind. Anyway, I feel like this is still, okay. So follow me on this. We've got Kylo in the first movie killing Han Solo, his own father. We got Kylo in the second movie essentially killing Luke Skywalker and trying to kill his mom and in The Last Jedi and trying to kill the rest of the Resistance, which is now down to like 3 people and a pair of dice. Mm-hmm. And now we have Rey sitting here saying it's never too late to change Ben. And it's like, this was the plot of Return of the Jedi where it was actually credible. Luke knew that his dad had reservations because he didn't totally murder him on Cloud City. Luke had a unique motivation because it was his father. With Rey and Kylo, it's just Kylo, the guy that killed Han and her almost Jedi Master, sort of Jedi Master. He's an evil dude. I don't understand why she's trying to turn him, except for plot reasons, because that's what they want to do. Is
the first time she saw him, he was stabbing his father to death.
Right.
That's a first impression right there. It should be like, you know what? This I could fix him.
Yeah, it's like, no, you whooped him in the first movie. You whooped him in the second movie. Just end it. Just whoop him. Just cut his head off. I do not like this in either this version or in Rise of Skywalker. I think they should have changed the story to make Kylo truly the successor to Snoke, the new wannabe emperor, and there's no question that Rey has to take out the big bad before it's over. I do not understand why they've taken a character that is so deplorable, but they're still trying to manipulate the audience into being sympathetic with him. It's like, wow, you guys are bad writers. You can't even write a sympathetic bad guy like Vader. You don't even know how to do it.
By the way, Data Racer says, correction, the dice disappeared.
Oh, okay. So 3
did it disappear? Because then the necklace, when he grabbed it off her, didn't. They could analyze it to that stupid fucking market. Man, that was a horrible movie.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. Thank you, Data Racer. I appreciate that. That means that it's down to 3 people and no dice.
Somebody in that writer room said, no one's going to notice that.
I still always wondered why Luke's mechanical hand didn't just clink off of his body when he turned ghost.
Right? And why does he still have his mechanical hand on him as a ghost?
Yeah.
Doesn't he still have the mechanical hand as a ghost? It's like...
He does.
Ugh.
I mean, even Hayden Christensen had his hair back after it burnt off.
Probably his dick, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, why would he still have a fucking robot parts?
Because they take shit too literally.
The fact that there was no robot part there when he disappeared could have been there out to been like he wasn't gone. Like he just went to that sacred scroll fucking cave and had to, he teleported there, but god damn it, this thing sucks. The more I fucking try to explain our way out of it, the worse. It's like
trying to
disappear one movie, then the fucking necklace doesn't disappear the next movie. It's just no one will notice. But the last time the dice disappeared, no, they'll forget. They're stupid. Don't worry. Just make the necklace stay.
Let's see. So we have the Resistance realizes that the Star Destroyer still has most of its weapons, tanks, TIE fighters, etc. Only missing piece is an army to use it. Rey researches so that seems like that's what they're going to use to fight in the final battle.
Okay.
Rey, researching the Jedi text from Octo, discovers that under Coruscant, the Jedi Temple, there is a communication system called a Force Beacon from the Old Republic that can send signals to 50 planets. They plan on using it to get allies. First Order can't stop it since it predates Imperial tech. Rey says, I hope is all we have left. I don't hate that. Not the 50 planet thing. I don't hate that there's shit underneath the old Jedi Temple. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that's fine. My problem with this, though, is, and if there are 50 planets out there that are receptive to a signal from Coruscant, shouldn't they already know that Coruscant has been taken, and shouldn't they already be attempting to stop the First Order somewhere? Like, shouldn't there already be a rebellion, dare I say, somewhere out there if this First Order just swarms in like angry hornets and just takes everything over this fast? Even though they lose in every movie, they still win. And also this whole idea of the First Order can't stop this signal because it predates Imperial tech. I mean, I get that a PS2 game won't play on a PS4. But you would have thought that that would have been one of the first things they'd have done is gone through the Jedi Temple and ransacked it. I don't know. I mean, I get that it's better than Rise of Skywalker. It's just, how do you measure that?
Painfully?
Very painfully. Yeah.
So we have Force Ghost Luke Skywalker. He appears to Rey as she trains. Luke is pushing Rey to get stronger in the Force while he is pushing Kylo to let Ben out. I don't really like the idea of the Force Ghost training.
Yeah.
Somebody, because, why didn't Ben Kenobi do more training with Luke? Why did he just say, go to Yoda,
Right.
He's fucking busy.
What's he doing? Hang out Qui-Gon telling stories of the underbelly of Coruscant. We weren't always good Jedi off the clock. Shit like that.
I'm sorry, Luke. I have to spend my time sitting on this log, but you go enjoy yourself on Tatooine. It's like what?
When you masturbate, you come for 2 weeks. Go see Yoda. I'll be busy.
So Kylo makes it back to Coruscant. His face is damaged again, I guess. Mandalorian armor is smelted and has been applied to his face. He confronts Hux and belittles him, saying that he doesn't need titles. I hate this. Mandalorian armor's been smelted to his face.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
This is where it seems like fan fiction.
Yeah.
Are they doing like a Doctor Doom thing where the mask is stuck onto his face?
Did you like the old Doctor Doom gimmick where he took off his mask and he actually wasn't really damaged? He just had one tiny scar, but he's so vain that he has to cover his whole face up.
No, well, they kind of did that with Kylo Ren too. The scar wasn't that bad. No, I always liked when they would show around the eyes and it was all scar tissue. You know what I mean? I like better that it was. I want them to be fucked up.
So John Byrne's Doctor Doom was the one I'm talking about. So I guess you just like traditional Doctor Doom or whatever.
Now you like the one where he takes off the mask and it's just not that bad of a scar actually.
Yeah.
Didn't he get so mad at it that he put the mask on while it was still hot?
Yes. And it burned his face.
Right.
Doctor Doom's a cool villain.
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of Vader is lifted from him.
Yeah. You think we'll ever get a good Doctor Doom on film?
They could do it. They listen. There hasn't been a lot of stuff that disappointed me with Marvel. If you play the numbers game for 20-something movies, you know, it's a handful that I just flat out didn't like. But everything was, even the bad ones were pretty good. Like, they were okay. Like, I didn't want to fucking find out who directed it so I could hate them. Like, you know, I was like, that was a miss. That's how I feel after Marvel if it's not good. It's like, that was a miss. I don't know. Michael, any thoughts on Doctor Doom?
I'm hesitant to stick my neck out here, but I was one of those people that while I wouldn't say that I, you know, was head over heels for the Fantastic Four movie with Chris Evans, I didn't hate it either. I felt like Doctor Doom was wasted in that movie, but I felt like if they had just done a sequel with Doctor Doom and developed him, I would have been just fine with the way that was playing out. And I know that means my standards for Fantastic Four on film are very low. I get that. And
I judged them on a curve too. I felt like that was really made for children. So for me to pick that apart as being, it's really was a kid's movie, like truly.
Right.
So, given what it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I would have been fine seeing them give Doctor Doom more screen time in the sequel, but then they went with that whole Silver Surfer thing.
Where he steals the surfboard, the source of his power,
right?
Yeah. I mean,
I think you're right. The Doctor Doom hasn't been treated properly yet in live action as a whole. I think what I'm saying is there was a window of opportunity there in the sequel to that first Fantastic Four movie, and they blew it. That's all I'm saying.
I would bet that Marvel will do a Doom movie, a solo Doom movie, and build him up. There has to be an earthbound villain that's just, I mean, he's the king of a nation. He's, you know, I think they'll do a Doom movie.
I hope. I mean, they're doing Morbius. Did you see the trailer?
Yeah. It looked pretty good to me.
Did you see it, Michael?
Yes, I did see that. Yes.
What do you guys think about the connection to the MCU proper?
I'm fine with it if they can hold it together. You know, easy baby, hold together. I'm fine with it if they can do it in a credible way. It's just I just don't have confidence because Morbius is under Sony, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's Tom Rothman. So anybody want to roll the dice on Tom Rothman? I don't. So
they're going to follow Marvel's lead. How can you argue with them at this point? It's the most successful franchise ever, right? I mean, movies.
I just know that they almost tried to pull Spider-Man away from Marvel right there after Endgame. So, and that was Rothman. I don't know.
What about Venom being almost $1 billion picture without MCU connections or help? Do you think that emboldened Sony at all?
Oh, sure. Yeah, it absolutely did. It absolutely did.
I got a video coming out on it later tomorrow, but I wanted to ask you guys' thoughts because I actually haven't had a chance to talk with any person about it, and it's been just going around my mind like crazy because, you know, last week, Michael, I don't know if I said it to you on the show, but it's like, you know, Marvel reached that nice logical conclusion, and now it feels like, oh, this is the next step that we didn't know was coming outside of Black Widow. And while I'm less excited for Black Widow than I am Morbius, overall, I'm still like you said, can they keep this together? And that's the big question I've been asking myself since I saw that trailer. So we'll find out. I'm excited to find out. It'll be interesting.
At least it's something new and different.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch them do it. I'm for it.
Yeah, I mean,
but speaking of what I was saying before with the and this links in, obviously they're doing kind of villains, although Morbius is like a nebulous villain. He's just he's not a true villain. Same with Venom, the way they set him up. I think the MCU is going to give Doom. I think they're going to roll him out, and they're going to give him his own movie. And First Class was supposed to be a Magneto standalone.
Yes,
it was supposed to be Origins. And if you watch, what's the best part of that movie? It's the fucking him as a Nazi hunter and all that shit. That was the most engaging part of that whole movie. And I was like, more of that. Once they left to the generic superhero plot at the school, it was just kind of like more fucking Magneto. Like they missed the boat. They got cold feet. They're like, there's not an appetite for Magneto. They shouldn't have. First of all, the girl I went to the movie theater wanted to fucking jump through the screen and fuck Michael Fassbender. So they really should have put more emphasis on him. And I think a Magneto standalone would have worked. And they got to get a charismatic actor like Michael Fassbender, who would actually be a good Dr. Doom, to be honest. And they could do it. I think they should, and now that you're seeing Venom and Morbius standalones, do a Dr. Doom standalone, build him up, and then have him, you could introduce, maybe do 1-2 punch of Fantastic Four, maybe a 3 months difference where they kind of, when Marvel does shit, they could fucking release it pretty back to back where the characters intertwine.
Folks in the chat, tell me what villain movies you'd like to see, Marvel or Star Wars. I think there could be some cool Star Wars villain movies. I know people say Darth Vader, but I would go see a Darth Vader movie if it was done more in the vein of like classic or slightly Rogue One Darth Vader, but not like some new take to ruin him. I think he needs to just remain a boogeyman, essentially.
Someone said who was it? Rin Wesley said Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah, he would be a good Doctor Doom, but he's already in Doctor Strange.
It's true. I met him once. That was scary.
Why? Because he was Hannibal Lecter?
No, because he's like almost as tall as I am, and he's
really
really tall, and he looks like when you see like okay. I know this is a weird comparison, but like The Rock. When you watched him on TV when I was a kid, he always had this scowl about him and this look. And then when you'd see him like in like a regular photo or something, he had a normal face. Mads Mikkelsen looks intimidating the entire time you see him. That's not his like acting, his smoldering look. He just looks creepy. And when you run into him at a convention, like not like I didn't pay to meet or anything like that. I'm literally walking and there he is and just talk.
So he has resting psycho face.
He has resting psycho face. RPF. So it was creepy. A lot of other celebrities are super friendly, and he wasn't bad. He's just really creepy. Oh crap! Hold on. There we go. Where do we go? All right. So back to the stuff. Ray. Sorry, I had it just a second ago. Talk amongst yourself. Blah, blah. Okay. So Ray to Luke as they train. She says, balance. The dark suffocates the light. The light extinguishes the dark over and over again. How is that balance to the Force? Luke says, I know that anger. My father had it too. Ray. So says my master, and so his master before him. 1,000 masters so eager to tell us how to live. The rest of the exchange between Ray and Luke is basically Ray trying to back away from being a Jedi. She admits she is no one, and Luke trying to convince her. She says the Force is speaking to her. So, again, we have. I don't like how they reinterpret some of the stuff from the Force, and I don't like this exchange. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's once again Ray in the struggle, and it's the struggle of being anything. It's whereas when Luke got to his third chapter, it wasn't that he was struggling to be a Jedi. He was struggling about what to do with his dad, but only in the first act. And then by the second act, he knew what he had to do. And at that point, he seized his destiny and he went forward. This is one of the problems with the Rey character arc, is that there isn't one. Like so many things in this trilogy, they keep resetting everything, and this treatment looks to be no different. Rey is once again, still having an identity crisis and not sure. It It's like if you're in the third chapter and you're the hero of the trilogy, the last thing you need to be uncertain about by the third chapter is whether or not you want to be the hero. You need to be uncertain about something else, like, will this plan destroy all these people on this indigenous world? Not, do I need to do this at all? You know?
You're right. By the way, I'm glad I took what you said about starting from the beginning, because when I read the summary part, I was mistaken that he was summarizing the whole thing, and it was just the end of the thing. So I almost cut out a good chunk of it. So thank you.
Sure, no problem.
So I'm going to read the next couple, and then we'll move on, because I want to get to some of what the fans think. So back Kylo and Hux, they continue to snipe at each other. Kylo says he's leaving again, but not before he tells Hux the power he's discovered will make destroying planets insignificant. Kylo's last order to Hux is find the resistance, wipe them out, leave the girl to me. And there are two teams, Team A, Team B. Team A consists of Rose, Finn, R2, and 3PO. They're going to Coruscant to light the beacon. Team B is Rey, Poe, and Chewbacca. They're going to the planet to find someone to help Rey figure out what she needs to do. Yes. Yes, his description is that vague. So that's weird to me that they are going to stop in the middle of a battle and a war and all this stuff and be like, hey, Poe Dameron, you're one of our best pilots. Chewbacca, you're great too. Go find out what Rey needs to do to become a Jedi. I mean, she's really not this great weapon. But anyway, I digress. Kylo is going to the Sith planet / Remcore. Before he leaves Coruscant, he takes Vader's mask and he says he understands Vader now. Kylo says, you allowed love to cloud your judgment, and he throws Vader's mask off a balcony and it shatters. That's kind of dumb. Leia says at the base, overseeing the resistance. Before Rey leaves, she and Leia have an exchange where Rey says she believes she's still good. There's good in Kylo. Leia is skeptical, but Rey believes in her Jedi training. Leia says, you're not like my father or my brother. You're new. Whatever happens, remember, the Force chose you, Rey. Your story isn't written by anyone else.
See, look, we just went from Rey doesn't know if she wants to be a Jedi to now Rey believes in her Jedi training and that there's still good in Kylo. It's like Luke believed there was good in his dad because he also believed that he was on the path to be a Jedi. It was all, what's the word I'm looking for? Symbiotic. Whereas this is just scattershot. It's just like, I don't know if I want to be a Jedi. No, wait, I totally believe in my training. By the way, that evil son of a bitch son of yours, I think he is a mensch, and I want to help him out. And it's like, what? Like, you don't even know if you want to be what you are, and you don't even know what you are. Why don't you go figure that out? Go have a soda and then come back after you've, had a second. Sorry, I don't mean to be a grump.
Dude, you gotta be.
Mads Mikkelsen is only 6 feet tall, the chat is saying. I checked it out.
He was creepy.
Maybe you met Stephen Merchant.
Who?
Exactly.
I'm also one of those people, I don't realize how tall I am, so. But no. Horror Hound 2014, September. But yeah, Michael, I don't think you're being a grump about this stuff. It just is inconsistent.
Yeah, it's just all over the place, and you can tell. It's almost like this script. Whatever Colin knew about Last Jedi, he clearly knew enough to know that he was going to have to play catch up before this movie was even released. You can tell by the treatment. He's trying to cover a lot of ground because he was privy to Rian Johnson's script. Henceforth, we will refer to it as RAG. Man.
Wouldn't though, as a producer or
Are we learning that in every alternate dimension this movie was shit, basically?
Pretty much.
But there might be look, we found the script from an alternate reality. No, it's still shit. It's still garbage.
Doctor Strange checked all 40 million possibilities, and there were no outcomes where this was a good script.
I just wonder why the producers wouldn't know. Like, if the middle chapter causes so many problems moving forward, why wouldn't they fix the middle chapter and not try to fix the later chapters? Because, I mean, they set themselves up where they wanted to be. We made a bunch of money, and the possibilities are endless. Now we're stuck in this box. Oh, wait. This is the end.
Yeah, that's pretty much correct, Jeff. That's how they got here. When you paint yourself into a corner as poorly as they did, it it's going to take a genius writer to get you out of it. It would have already taken a very, very good writer to get you out of Force Awakens, but to get you out of Last Jedi on top of Force Awakens, you're going to have a prodigy of some kind, some sort of just,
Listen, we've already, in the last hour and 15 minutes, we've put more thought into this trilogy than the people who made the trilogy have.
Yeah. Yeah. Where is the rest of the galaxy? Where are they? They haven't been around this whole time. I told somebody one time, I said, if the prequel trilogy was World War I and the sequel and the original trilogy was World War II, this trilogy feels like a drive-by. Like it's not even a real war. It's just this, to quote Lawrence of Arabia, a sideshow of a sideshow. And I'm sitting here going, where is the opposition to this group? I mean, in the first prequel trilogy, you had a trade federation fighting the Republic, two big warring factions. In the second trilogy, and temporally speaking, you've got the Rebellion and the Empire, and the Rebellion is made up of multiple systems who all don't want to be under the Empire's boot heel. And now we're in the third trilogy, and it's just like, yeah, no one really cares about the Resistance, and they don't care that the First Order's got them miraculously under their control. I don't know. Sorry.
No apologies necessary. I think that's a good comparison. It just, I don't know. When you talked about the you need a prodigy to finish the story, isn't it great they got Chris Terrio, guy that wrote BBS?
Can you think of a worse person? It's like, why is that guy still working in Hollywood at this point? Why? Like he made Batman v Superman and Justice League. He needs to get out of genre filmmaking. I've heard that he's written good stuff in completely other genres. Fine. Go back to those. Stay out of this. You do not have the chops for it, sir.
Well, now hold on a second. There's a guy I'm gonna follow or strengthen your argument. So there's a guy, I believe, Akiva Goldsman, who did write genre stuff, being Batman and Robin, but then left that shit and has done other good stuff.
Yes.
I mean, why just keep putting him on, or Chris Terrio, why keep putting him in the genre stuff? Because the name hits. It's like, what's his face? The guy who's the producer, Alex Kurtzman, that Star Trek fans seem to hate.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you get these names because it's like when we had the AI discussion, a computer puts, this made money, this person's name was attached, therefore their name means money. And it's like, we're missing out on really good stuff if we could just remove a couple of these people, put them in other creative roles, and let fresh talent with more respect and reverence, especially with franchise pop culture. It's a different thing if, these guys come together and they make something completely new, because we don't have a frame of reference. But if you're making another Matrix or you're making another Star Wars or this or that, you have to have people that like and get the source material. You don't really have the right to just kind of come in and change it, all willy-nilly. But
well, it's funny. I have a story about Akiva Goldsman. It's very short. I actually had the displeasure of meeting him when I was an intern in LA, and he came into the office where I was interning, and it was Oscar season, and on the cover of Variety was, A Beautiful Mind for your consideration for Best Picture or whatever, and Best Screenplay and all this kind of stuff. And he walked in with an entourage to talk to the people that owned the production studio that I was interning at about some project. And the first thing he did while the secretary was, calling up to the office to let them know that he was there or whatever, he walked over to us. I'm sitting there trying to write coverage on a script, and he's wearing one of those big fur collared coats, like one of those. And it's like, it's in LA. It's like, why are you wearing a big fur collared coat like Big Boy Caprice? And he leans over and he points to the cover of the Variety magazine that has A Beautiful Mind on it, which he wrote. And he says, I wrote this. I want you all to know this. I wrote this. And then he walked off with his people. And we were like, what the fuck? What was that? What the hell?
I never liked the guy, but now I'm just kind of More disappointed.
I'm just like, you know, and then when he walked off, I mentioned something to the interns. So like, yeah, he also wrote Batman and Robin. And then I went back to my stuff, and this girl Erica laughed, and that was my story. Yeah.
Well, maybe he'll use the Mandalorian to fix the trilogy. They'll fill in the gaps, you know.
Well, you know what you should have said to him, Michael?
What's that?
You should have said it's based on a true story. He did nothing. That's the reason I was oddly silent, because I'm like, isn't that based off of a real person?
Yes.
So it's like, yeah, Akiva Goldsman. Oh, I wrote this. I just wanted you to know I wrote this. It's like, John Nash is a real person. You adapted what he did. I just wanted you to know this. And you should have walked out of the office. I just love when people write a film based on a true event. Like it'll be like if I'm out here now and it's like I wrote this really epic World War II story based on true events, and I won an Oscar. I'm like, yeah, I did this. I made this story. And then if I got that diluted, I would want every veteran and every person who's ever studied World War II to say, yo, this is history. You didn't write that. And I'm just like, well, I'm gonna have to be humble.
Right. You just let people know about it. That's all you did. Yeah.
We'll call it D-Day.
Love it. Let's call for Investor Cecil.
I was saying someone was talking about this the other day about whether they're going to try to link the trilogy with the Mandalorian, since the Mandalorian's wildly popular, and try to fix some of the shit.
You mean the new sequel trilogy?
To like explain how the First Order, you know what I mean? Like, since they're there, 20-something years before. Well, how many years is it supposed to be? It's a couple years after Jedi, so it's probably like 30 years before.
Yeah.
So could they, start to use it to explain, well, here, look, you see, they just went by something, and you see the beginnings of the First Order here. And, you know what I mean? Because people are like, where the fuck did this come from? Can they fill in the gaps with the show? And should they, or should they just pretend that shit never fucking... Like, will they, like on season 5, will they find Rey in the desert of Jakku? Like, as a 4-year-old that was abandoned. And he's like, you're a foundling. I'll take you. And Baby Yoda trains her and then mind wipes her and brings her back.
I mean...
That's why she was so good. She was trained on Yoda's planet.
Personally, I hope they don't do something like that, because I don't want
to be writing this down.
What?
They're like, that's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is a good idea, but it's not going to save anything.
Well, it would explain why she's so powerful. What if she was like taken to what if she was found with Mandalorian, taken to Baby Yoda's planet, they train her, and then they find out she's Palpatine's daughter, and they're like, we have to memory erase her and put her back where you found her.
If this could have been established in a film, that'd be cool. I'd like to think that Disney, though, is trying to remove themselves from this trilogy as quickly as possible. And they're like, we're just going to make more shit you like, and we're going to forget about the stuff you don't like, and yay, Star Wars.
Maybe the next movie, R2-D2 and C-3PO will have a baby.
That'd be beautiful. Cecil, let's make that happen too.
Oh my! Oh my!
That's
who's the dad? Now you'd think that C-3PO would be fucking, R2, but I'm thinking maybe I don't know.
C-3PO is very flexible. We'll just put it like that.
Does he have an exhaust port?
It's only 2 meters wide.
That's enough to fit R2 his entire body.
Yeah. He's very, very good at isolating the reverse power flux coupling. Very good at that. And the ladies love it.
That needs to be some slash fiction out there, folks. Leave Raylo alone. Let's start the R2-D2 C-3PO birthing stories.
Yeah. The tagline for this is going to be, show him your 3PO face.
R2PO. I just shipped them.
Watch, we're going to get tweets tomorrow about this. Some happy, some angry. Some one of our fans is going to probably sit there and draw us some of this. So just post it on Twitter. Don't email it to us. Twitter's fine. World Class BS on Twitter. Folks, we have over 1,400 people watching. Hit that thumbs up button. Like I said, this weekend I'll be back on Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to get us to 1,000 thumbs up, we will get a Good Morning Pop Culture probably Saturday morning. So I know you guys like that show, and that's to let me know that you want it. So I'm going to read the rest of this stuff, and then we're going to hear what the listeners think, because we have one other topic we want to cover because it's really dumb. It's Star Wars related, and it's probably the dumbest thing to come out since The Last Jedi. And Michael, you know what it is. Cecil, you'll be surprised to hear it. So, the First Order tracks down the stolen Star Destroyer to Koroloff. The Resistance escapes. Team A successfully infiltrates the Jedi Temple and turns on the beacon. Cut to a different places around the galaxy receiving the signal. We see Bosk. It is then cut off by the First Order. Team A then flees into the underbelly of Coruscant. Team B are being pursued by the Knife Nine, the Knights of Ren's ship, and eventually reach the planet Bonadin. Kylo reaches Remenkor and confronts Tor Valum, the 7,000-year-old alien of unknown origin, spindly, intense, sinewy muscles, very Lovecraftian. Kylo begins training with Valum. Ode to ESB. Cave scene. Kylo fights Vader. Fight is brutal, and Kylo loses. On Bonadin, Poe takes Rey to a seer who can pull information out of memories. The seer pulls a star chart out of Rey's mind from her visions with Kylo. The Knights of Ren show up and fight Rey. In a lightsaber battle, she defeats them, and Team B escapes. Both Rey and Kylo eventually get to Mortis. Leia asks Lando if he'll organize the smugglers and fight the First Order. Rose is captured and tortured by the First Order, but is able to escape. Finn, R2, and 3PO start a citizens' uprising on Coruscant around the First Order's citadel/palace. Leia brings her forces to Coruscant to battle the First Order, massive space battle, ground battle, Return of the Jedi style. You know the works, LOL. Chewie flies an X-Wing. Rey and Kylo battles on Mortis, using force energy that can pull from each other. At some point, it is revealed that Kylo killed Rey's parents at the behest of Snoke. Towards the end, Luke, Obi-Wan, Yoda appear as Force ghosts to save Ben, but are unsuccessful. Ben is extinguished. And then this is a commentary about Robert Myers Burnett. Seems to be at the end. So for just housekeeping's sake, the Resistance won, First Order loses. And one final detail, Han Solo did appear in the script and does confront Kylo at some point.
Okay, first of all right,
Is this going to be on a test?
No, there's no test. We're just testing your sanity if you can stick with the show.
Okay, I've read this 3 times before the show started. I could not find a previous reference to Mortis in this treatment anywhere. So is that a separate planet? Or is that like a convenience store across the street from the Citadel? What is Mortis? I know what it is. I know the son of Mortis. I know what that is in the Clone Wars mythology. So, but I'm talking about in this script, what is Mortis?
Is it supposed to be like Exegol?
It's where Mount Doom is.
Because it says that Kylo is told by the Walkman that he finds, the old Sith Walkman, that he's supposed to go to Remnicor. Vader is to take Luke to Remnicor to see Tor Valum. So that's not Mortis. Mortis is something else.
Okay, High Warlord Taladar says Mortis is from the Clone Wars. It is a Force planet.
Oh, it's a Force planet. Okay. So the son of Mortis is the son of that world. Okay, got it. Thank you. Appreciate
where
it.
the Force originated.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Thank you. I'm up to speed. Thanks.
I'm glad we got the listeners on that kind of stuff because I didn't know the Force originated.
Yeah, me neither. So that means Rey and Kylo are battling on a separate world at the same time as the Coruscant final battle is going on. Now, what's interesting about this is that Colin is possibly pulling the Coruscant part of the ending from the original intended ending for Revenge of the Jedi. Not Chewie flying an X-Wing, because there's no fucking way Chewie could fit inside an X-Wing unless they specially made one for him. There's no way, but whatever.
Porkins got in.
Say what?
Porkins got in.
Yeah, that's width, not height.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and Porkins is a little squishier. Chewie's totally svelte. Like he could get in there width-wise. It's just his height is out out of control. But anyway, the ending of Revenge of the Jedi in its original outline, and even in some of the early drafts, was that it was to end over Coruscant. That's why they keep referring to Endor in the final movie as the Sanctuary Moon. Because in the early drafts of Revenge of the Jedi, it was a botanical sanctuary where people could go to see nature, since the whole planet was a city.
Oh, I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's clearly pulling from that as the location of this part of the final battle. But in Revenge of the Jedi, Luke and Darth Vader were under the Senate Citadel, in that you've seen that painting of Luke in like that subterranean lava chamber with the Emperor on his throne.
Yeah.
That's from that, when they were still working off that outline. And so his whole duel at the end with Vader and the Emperor was supposed to be on Coruscant, underneath in the secret sanctum of lava and stalactites and all kinds of stuff. And so, in other words, the battle was going on over Coruscant, and Luke was fighting Vader under Coruscant. But now it seems like Rey and Kylo are on a totally different planet, which I don't know how that would play. But, you know.
And for those out there that are wondering what Michael's talking about, there you go. Much cooler, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people that shits on Return of the Jedi, but I do like some of that idea a lot more than what we got in the film.
Yeah.
There. But, so yeah, this.
Well, just to answer, one guy was saying that Coruscant didn't exist before Timothy Zahn created it. Well, actually, Coruscant existed in the West End Games role-playing game, which came about in 1987. It was on the splash page in the beginning with Emperor Palpatine, I believe. It was called Hal Abaddon in the original Revenge of the Jedi draft. It wasn't called Coruscant, but its function was the same. It was the city center of the galaxy. It was called Hal Abaddon. So take that what you will.
It is probably the coolest planet to come out of the prequels. I mean, I know some people like Kamino with the water and stuff like that, and Mustafar's lava, but if you had to live on a planet, I'd want to have money and live on Coruscant. That'd just be for me.
Right.
But that's the draft, essentially. I mean, the...
Wrong answer, by the way. Naboo is the best planet.
You'd want to have a planet of Gungans?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Hey.
Cecil likes them frogs. Loves them frogs.
Oh, God, Naboo.
Remember the whole rumor about Jar Jar being the Sith Lord behind everything? Wouldn't that have been better? Like, you know,
I mean, it would have been dumb, but yes, it would have been better.
It would have been brilliant next to this horse shit.
So, Cecil, what were your thoughts of this other draft overall? Would you have liked the movie we listened to? Or no?
It was a second crappy movie. That's all that they showed me, is that they have fucking 2 instances of crap.
I got to give it to Cecil on this one too. I'm with him. It's. I mean, yeah, you've improved your position, but only in areas, and overall, it's still just this mess. It's just a mess.
Yeah, I don't think it's very good, nor do I think it's very real.
Yeah,
like a lot of this was written retroactively from what we got in episode 9, and then it just kind of popped up. If it is real, cool. I just need some confirmation. I always let people know what we read is rumor, and let the audience, determine how you feel about that. So folks in the chat, obviously I want to know what you guys think, if it's real, if it's fake. 1 for real, 2 for fake. That's a pretty easy way to dictate what your thoughts are. And we can, I can look at this further, come back on the podcast, make a video about it, something or the other. I wanted to get it out because it was the biggest thing in Star Wars news this week. Another episode 9. Yeah, it's slightly better than what we got.
Something have back, then it's just more horseshit. They could, and there were outs. They could have had, listen, the fact that his hand didn't fall to the ground. when he didn't disappear, because why the fuck would he take hardware with him to the fucking other world?
Yep, agreed.
So there was an out that he was still alive. We never. It wasn't like you said, it wasn't a conventional death. So they easily could have written himself out of that fucking corner. And the fact that they didn't bother, even though, my God, it would have fucking changed things. It would have really changed things to have a redemption arc of a good redemption arc of Luke, training her and fucking maybe him even taking on the Emperor and then her saving him if you have to do that. Like, I get that that she's their property, they want her, but like have him fucking take on the Emperor in a real battle, not fucking a hologram fucking battle or some bullshit. I don't know that it still would have been bad after The Last Jedi, but there were so many possibilities they could have done, and they didn't have the fucking. They didn't give a shit. Like, this whole fucking trilogy, it just screams, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, this whole trilogy is like a tax write-off for them now.
Pretty much. I just don't know why you would treat something like Star Wars so poorly. I mean, my God, you have...
Makes sense. Nothing makes sense.
No.
Is it possible, because we were hearing all that stuff before Rise of Skywalker came out, we were hearing all that stuff about how Iger could only rein in Kathleen Kennedy so much because of a contract that she had about how she gets final cut and things like that. Could that have come into play somewhere where there's only so much? Obviously, Iger came in and messed more stuff up, but because of the situation contractually, is it possible that she just had control over this trilogy until the end, and just we already know that she wasn't making good story runner decisions overall? I don't know. I mean, we know fairly certainly that the corporation wrestled as much of this movie away from Abrams as it could, even though Abrams came in with the promise that he would have creative control. And maybe they said anything they wanted to say just to get Abrams to sign on the dotted line, knowing that he really didn't have creative control. I don't know. I'm just.
I don't think Abrams is that creative. I think he can be a good director. Somebody should have wrote it. He could have directed it, but giving him creative control of his two movies, and then the whole thing was, I think Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson not only aren't interested in Star Wars, not only don't like it, but have straight up contempt for the whole property and its fan base. Like,
oh yeah, they totally do. And I want to make one thing clear. I don't think J.J. Abrams is talented. I'm just referring to the series of events. I think he's horrible.
To direct somebody else's words, but I mean, his writing, like him saving it, to have a J.J. Abrams write something to save it, that was never going to fucking work.
Right.
If anybody took an interest in saving it, they could have done it. No one cared. Like I said, apathy would have been a fucking step up from what they had. They had contempt.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder how many people just don't want to work for this company right now, for Lucasfilm. Like, in other words, if Terrio was the person they got, who did they reach out to that said nah?
You'd wonder, because I mean, on the flip side, they have Jon Favreau and Filoni doing their own thing, and they're pumping out good stuff.
But does that fall under the auspices of Kennedy's contractual power? I wonder if that's part of that whole, because we don't know what her renewal looked like. Her contract was renewed, but with what changes? And are Filoni and Favreau sort of like on their own? I again, I don't know if there have been behind the scenes photos of Kennedy on the set. I haven't seen any. I've seen George on the set. I haven't seen her. So
I would hope that. The weirdest thing is, she was the executive producer or whatever she used to do back in the day. She dealt with money. She was good at that, I guess. But she's not creative. So whatever she had to do with, because it's weird. Like, to me, Lucasfilm is a two property entity. I know they have been involved with other technologies and stuff like that, but to me, Lucasfilm is Star Wars and Indiana Jones. And Michael, I know you remember those little catalogs that would come with the LucasArts games, with all the toys and shit in the back, or all the merchandise. It was like Star Wars stuff, Indiana Jones stuff, and then every once in a while you get like that Road Wild game and like Day of the Tentacle and a couple other games you could buy. But they were always like to me, it's just those two things. So it's kind of weird that somebody that would run the company that really only has two huge things hates one of the two things.
Yep.
It's like, why would you take this role knowing you hate Star Wars? What has Star Wars hurt? How has it hurt her? I mean,
it does make you wonder if she secretly has contempt for Indiana Jones as well. What has been her game this whole time? Her whole career?
I don't know. Like Indiana Jones, it's already kind of ruined, but like I don't want to jokingly say how could it be worse, because it can be.
Yeah.
And will be. But I just wonder what her, like you said, the contempt she has. What's her end game? Because she's made herself very wealthy. She has a lot of power, but what does she gain outside of like scratching some itch she's had for a couple decades from tanking this thing? It's
maybe she was mistreated by George and Steven Spielberg, and she's fucking. I may not be able to kill you, but I'll kill your baby.
I would be like, joke's on you. I made all the money from it, so I'm happy.
Well, that was a question I asked a while back, which with some friends of mine. It was, the whole idea of, she worked with these guys for so long, and Spielberg especially helped her rise through the ranks of Hollywood, and she did that on a lot of George Lucas produced movies, Indiana Jones. Why on earth? What would compel you, after all that's said and done, to just turn around and stab that person in the back after he gave you the keys to his company? I mean, that's some serious turnabout right there. After 30 years of working together, 35 years, nearly 40, and you turn around and you're like, oh, I'll make you any promise you want, even though we've known each other 40 years. Oh, and watch this.
Yeah, I mean, that's somebody she's known for most of her life, and she knows it's his baby, and he handed her a script, and she fucking threw it in a garbage can.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, there's got that's not passive aggressive. That's aggressive.
Yes.
That's just regular old fuck you.
Yeah.
She only did one interesting thing her entire fucking tenure there so far, and that was hiring Lord and Miller, and then she fucking fired them, and we never got to see that. That could have been. No one wants to do anything interesting, anything fun. That's the other thing. There's no fun. Where's the fucking fun in Star Wars?
Oh, I totally agree. Lord and Miller and Gareth Edwards both were working on the most unique Star Wars projects as far as tone and style and direction. Both very different projects. One was a war film. One was going to be a buddy action comedy. As much as some people don't like to hear that when it comes to Han Solo, I would have much rather seen that play out for better or worse than what we got.
The gray and brown mud-colored movie, Ron Howard shit out.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And Gareth Edwards, I'm convinced there is a great war film in the vault at Disney, a great Star Wars war film that never will see the light of day because of her meddling.
Mm-mm. Well, maybe it'll pop up on that 9-disc special edition we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, doubtful. She wouldn't even let him record a commentary for it, and he played by the rules.
That is the only way you could get me to buy that box set, is if it was like the dirt Kathleen Kennedy doesn't want you to know.
Right, right.
I could be convinced to drop money on that just to hear what a shitty, spiteful creator she is.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was the only reason I went and bought the Force Awakens 3D. I eventually gave it to a friend, but I bought it to get that commentary to listen to it after it came out. Mm-hmm. And it was every other scene was J.J. Abrams going, yeah, we had to reshoot this scene 3 or 4 times, to try and get this right, because I had to keep changing the script. And, it's just a real challenge. And that was like every 10 minutes in that commentary. And you're like, wow. Wow.
I had to do By the Last Jedi for Ethan's video that we did together, the first High Council. And I proceeded to microwave the disc over the weekend of The Rise of Skywalker. So... So let's see what the listeners are saying, because folks, we actually do have a secondary segment. This isn't hype to keep you around. The next one's actually dumber than anything you could possibly imagine. So the Fixer says, I looked into doing a call segment using StreamYard, similar to Discord, but to my knowledge, StreamYard lacks the capability. Oh, well, I checked into other options. Well, Fixer, I do need to look into that. That would be for the podcast proper, excuse me. But if there is a Discord thing, we can stream through this and all that crap together. I would Frankenstein's monster something to make that happen. But if you find something new, just keep contacting me. You have the show's email, worldclassbs@mail.com, and we can we'll figure it out eventually. If not, we'll have we'll try the burner segment once again. Cecil, did I tell you about that? I did a live call-in segment for my Rise of Skywalker review, and it so many people were watching and tried to call, and it crashed the app.
Oh fuck! Would you have it on your phone or on a computer?
On the phone, it had a special burner app, and it wasn't nobody tried to call in to do anything. Just people wanted to talk about the movie, and they couldn't handle it. It's 3 people got in. So,
did you contact the app company and say what happened?
I might.
Yeah. I mean, they'd probably like to know that, actually. You know what I mean? Give them a little feedback.
Well, I'll tell Nick because it was on his phone, so it was an Apple product.
There's your problem.
Yeah, I'm Android all the way, man. Oh, the Fixer also says, what weapon would you use in the Star Wars universe? Personally, I would use a slug thrower, a 50 caliber Beowulf with an M26 underslung shotgun specifically. Michael, what would you use? Cecil?
What would I use in my favorite weapon in the Star Wars? I don't know.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was trying to be on mute for courtesy.
Beating the shit out of me. I mean, everybody who the fuck wouldn't want to hold a fucking lightsaber?
Yeah, I want a lightsaber.
You gotta go with we have guns. Maybe they're may not be blasters, but nothing would be cooler than having a fucking laser sword that can cut through anything.
Yeah, I agree with Cecil. Sorry, I didn't realize my mic was on mute. Yeah, lightsaber for me all the way. I know that it sounds cliche, but that weapon's fascinated me ever since the very first Star Wars movie.
I'd say it's one of the greatest fictional weapons ever.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be crazy though, I want Han Solo's blaster that fires a Death Star ray with each pull of the trigger. So
hold on a moment. I didn't know that was an option.
It is now.
Motherfucker.
Actually,
pretty lame, doesn't it?
I'd like to change my answer. I would like to change my answer to Rey because she never loses.
Oh yeah.
So if I just have Rey, I don't actually have to do anything, and she'll win everything for me, which is great.
Deus Ex Machina.
Yes.
So I'm gonna change my answer since we're making shit up to lightsaber gauntlets that have Wolverine claws made of lightsaber on each fucking.
That's cool. Now, Cecil, would a lightsaber cut through adamantium?
No.
I love Wolverine.
Would it cut through vibranium?
It's got to have limitations, right?
I would think.
Yeah, I mean, although it cut through Kylo Ren's spaceship so simply, she just cut the fucking wing off of it while doing a backflip.
Yeah.
Maybe that. Wait, let me. Qualify this. Yes, if Rey is holding that lightsaber, it could cut through vibranium and adamantium.
At the same time. And Beskar steel.
Yeah.
All at once. Scott Hudson says, Jeff, you're so right. Disney killed the Force. Scott, first off, thank you for watching the video. And thank you for the super chat. Yeah, I really think that's why the Force is so different. So, folks, like I said, check out the video. It just came out this morning. It's, Michael contacted me early to tell me that he enjoyed it. So that means a lot coming from him. So I think everyone's going to like it. Salvador, we know him, Michael. He says, Hail Jeff, Retro Blasting, and Cecil. We get Retro Blasted 2 weeks in a row? I can hardly contain myself. Also, Jeff and Michael, more customs are coming. 6-inch Joes, Michael? Question mark.
Yeah, if I can get a 6-inch custom Joe group that includes Snake Eyes and Lady J and all them, that would be awesome. Yeah.
There was a rumor on Instagram I saw that was supposed to be a thing at Toy Fair from Hasbro this year, 6-inch G.I. Joe figures. So It's a rumor until it's proven true, but that would be cool.
If they're, as long as they're not reimagined, I don't want 6-inch Joes that look like 21st century tactical, what do you call that? Call of Duty or anything like that. I want them to look like they did in the comic, and we'll see.
They're all just going to be repainted Tico dolls anyway.
That works. I mean, you got to think about the cost of production. I do. So, yay, Hasbro. One side note about toys, Michael. Did you have you ever seen the Mezco 1/12 collection?
Yes, I know that. Yes, Mezco 1/12. Yes.
Tomorrow, their Michael Keaton Batman goes up for pre-order.
Oh wow!
So
is it going to be better than the Hot Toys? Do you think?
It looks like a mini Hot Toys one.
Oh wow, that's cool.
I have an alarm set on my phone because I have to get one.
I'm interested to see how they get away with those licenses, because I thought McFarlane Toys was supposed to have the new DC license, and yet everybody else gets these like boutique licenses so that they can do a slightly different scale that the big company didn't sign up for. I guess that's how Hot Toys gets around it too. Yeah,
the legalities of all this stuff is almost as interesting as like some of the merchandise you get. But let me I'm just going to share you a personal picture, and you can tell me what you think of there's just one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic about this. Sorry, Salvador, I know you're into the collectibles as much as we are, so our buddy Trent, American Trent 007 is the reason why I know tomorrow's the date. So there you go. Logan Michael Anti-Funko Pop says, thoughts on 1917? I haven't seen the film, and I wasn't alive for the year. Cecil, were you around in 1917?
Yeah, I was barely just a boy, maybe 18. After the war.
I just hope that I haven't seen it yet, but I hope if they are true to their authenticity that we will have a scene of French soldiers in the trenches having to piss on their gas masks to activate them before the mustard gas hits. I would really appreciate seeing that.
That's important to you?
No, not actually, but I wanted to say it as seriously as possible to make people question my sanity.
I'm gonna check it out, but no, I haven't seen it yet.
I got free passes to go see that underwater movie with Kristen Stewart. So maybe I'll see that Wednesday for free. But that's my next movie going endeavor. I want to see Bad Boys. That's gonna be.
Is free motivating enough?
I mean, I'll be out at the theater. I'll be next to the theater already for some other reason. So I figure, why not?
Oh, okay.
Like I said, if I don't have to pay for it, it's different.
That's true. It's a lot less painful if it's terrible, but you didn't sacrifice anything for it.
It's weird though too. Some of the best movies I've seen, well, not all time, but like I get a lot of free not screeners, but like passes.
Mm-hmm.
And Kingsman of the Secret Service was one that I got to see really early, even in Ohio, which I think Ohio's whatever. But I love that movie. So you do get some cool ones every once in a while.
I own that movie. I did not go see the second one. I heard it was terrible.
I own them both on Blu-ray. I think the first one's better, but the second one does have it has one of the best Elton John jokes ever.
Oh, okay.
Elton John's in the movie himself. So, I mean, look, if you like the first one, give the second one a shot. It has Pedro Pascal, the guy who plays the Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
And I think I would recommend. I would honestly just straight up recommend it. Like, get it from Redbox, rent it for $4 or something on Amazon, but just sit down and watch it. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Okay, I'll do that.
And I'm glad you like that Michael Keaton Batman figure.
Yeah, it's really sharp.
God, did you see the video where they restored the suit from Warner Brothers?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Michael Ludwig, Dr. Ian Malcolm says, life finds a way, and so can drunk Cecil.
Oh, by the way, I saw Batman Begins. That was the only time I saw a screener. I have a friend who was at the New York Film Academy, and they had like a screening.
I love that movie.
That was fucking awesome.
It's still my favorite Christian Bale one, in my personal opinion. Michael Ludwig says, thoroughly enjoyed your videos, Jeff. Loved Retro Blasting sequel trilogy and his channel Fandom Menace videos. 5 stars. Hi, Sober Cecil.
Hello.
Sheevburger says Sober Cecil runs Harvey Weinstein's Tinder account.
Allegedly.
TLJ Russian Bot says awesome counsel. Well, thank you. I know Michael's a busy guy, and I'd like to thank you for joining me again, man. But I love having you on. So.
Oh no, thank you. I love being on the show, and I'm glad that our schedules are finally lining up. So this is great.
And folks, if you want more Michael, and I know you do, he is over on the channel Retro Blasting. We'll have it's the name of it's a screen name, is his channel name. He's got tons of great content, covers all kinds of stuff. So, like I said, I recommend it. Salvador knows it's one of my personal channels. And Cecil, you're Cecil Says, right? Or
yes,
you changed your name again?
Cecil Says.
Okay, cool. So you can get more of us.
Say next to it.
Cecil
Says is adult only content.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw that somewhere. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going crazy.
No, that's actually the name of my channel. So that I can't get. So if they fucking bust me on that stuff, I'll be like, the name of the channel is Cecil Says is adult only content.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I have the word bullshit right in the title of my channel. So, I mean, people can never mistake it. Like, oh, my third grader was watching your videos. Why? Van Slattery says, instead of The Rise of Skywalker 2.0, if it ever comes out, I suggest a better use of 2 hours. Go watch 1917. The movie is simple and strong, a breath of fresh air. Well, that's 2 recommendations, and Van Slattery's a regular listener, so I'll give it a shot. I know it's the film that dethroned Star Wars at the box office, so. Let's see. Sheevburger says, everyone back Cash Grab when it launches and keep Cecil from leaving us.
Yes. Tuesday. Wait, is this you, Retro Blasting? That's you?
Yeah.
63,000 subscribers?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hi. Big channel. I just subscribed. Now you have 63,001.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right.
Hey, Cecil, if you're, I don't know what you got planned for your launch, but if you ever, want to come over here and do something for it, let me know.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'll take you up on that. Thank you.
Let's see. Logan Michael Anti-Funko Pops says, Toy Fair is happening next month. Do y'all have any predictions or hopes for reveals? Michael?
I do not have any wishes for Funko Pop reveals because they are marketing trash, and I hate Funko Pops, and they can all, melt in the core of the sun.
What about anything in general?
Oh, anything in general that I'd like to see released? Well, I can't wait. I honestly can't wait for the Black Series, even though it's a Hasbro thing. I can't wait for the Black Series relaunch or re-release of the Bespin Luke Skywalker for their 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back line. I'm really looking forward to that one. And I've seen some spy photos of it on some channels here on YouTube, and it looks like the head sculpt is finally a lot better than it was on that original one. So I am looking forward to that.
I'm going to be looking forward to that as well. Logan Michael, for me, I'm still holding out on that Axel Foley action figure. We got a Funko Pop last year. Come on. NECA, Mezco, anybody. I don't care. It could just be a 5-point of articulation one. Make it, and I'll buy it, and I'll stop talking about it. John McClane got it.
I'm looking forward to the thousands of Baby Yoda-related products that will be flooding the market come September. Maybe the book bags, T-shirts, toys, hats, games. I can't wait for them to just saturate the market and just make everybody sick of it by next season.
It's going to be weird if next year at Christmas people are just over Baby Yoda. Like I would feel almost kind of shitty for Star Wars because it's like everybody liked it, you didn't have it out in time, and it didn't work, and now everyone's kind of just like, oh, great. But we'll find out.
Cecil, I just wanted to thank you once again, and I returned the favor. So I have subscribed.
Oh wow, okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure.
Nathan Brake, thank you very much. He says, have no fear, for I am here. Welcome, Nathan Brake. Modalicious for $2 says, $5 says Disney rips off Landon's Tom Dooley next. What's a Tom Dooley? Or what's Landon's Tom Dooley? I don't know. I'll look that up while I read the next one. Blues Tom 4 says, it's fanfic, fake news, Rob is lying. I hope not. I mean, well, I honestly didn't think it was real, but we just read it anyway for the like you said, grain of salt rumor, but wanted to check it out because it's a big thing right now. Let's see.
Tom Dooley is a movie from 1959. A Confederate officer is accused of murder when he carries out an ambush on a Union stagecoach after the war.
It came out July 1959. That's when my mom was born.
Yeah, and Michael Landon was Tom Dooley in that movie.
Oh. Well, it's new to me.
He was also a teenage werewolf, by the way.
I understood that reference. Johnson says, I want to Lucas, but I guess he means, I want to see Lucas's outline to leak. I don't know anything about those except that Disney has released, or what they've released. So I know it was supposed to be like that microbiotic world stuff. It would be interesting if George is like, here's my old script. It'd be fun, a way to stick it to him, unless there's like legalities behind it. But like he said once, why would I want this to fail? I'm a big stock owner in Disney. So I guess George Lucas still wins at the end of the day.
Yeah, he's hoping that he lives to be 400,000 years old, so he'll have enough time to spend his money.
That's a problem I'd love to have. I'm so rich I can't live to spend it.
He's in his 70s. No, he could do things for spite now. He has enough fuck you money, whether Disney tanks or not.
Cody Duffin says girls like horsies. It's true, they do. My Little Pony, I don't know if only women like it. I'm sure there are dudes out there that watch it. So maybe they're trying to.
My Little Pony has all those fucking insane bronies.
Oh, okay. Then there you're right. I'm going to read a few more, and then we're going to get back to the show. Nathan Brake says, I heard Star Wars RPG and my ears perked. I'm currently obsessed with the newest version of the Star Wars RPG. It's great.
Oh, well, that's encouraging to hear. I haven't played anything since I was an adolescent, early teen with the West End Games role-playing game, but I do have a fondness for collecting those books. I do really love that game from back then.
I have never played one, so I'll have to check it out, though. I'd like to get the very first edition just to read it.
Yeah, that's what I had so much fun with, was that all the source books were just this wealth of information and detail about all the different vehicles and starfighters and all that kind of stuff. And to this day, I'll always have memorized that it's not an X-wing fighter; it's an Incom T-65C-A2 X-wing fighter that Luke flies.
No duh.
TechComp says my 9 would end like 1 Rey and Luke versus Kylo on Naboo. Okay, so like on the feed hanger. Okay, I get what you're saying. That could have been cool. See Luke Skywalker come back and fight one more time, like Luke Skywalker did, and not like a wuss.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Salvador says, Martha, why did you say that name? That was the actress who played Martha Jones. And they went to Mustafar? Did they find a burnt wiener? Okay, so I didn't realize it was her. I just thought it looked like her, but why would they put her in one scene? Because, her Doctor Who cred, I guess. But I didn't realize they went to Mustafar either, Salvador. But maybe they did find Darth Vader's disembodied charred phallus. Dash Attack says, hashtag release the Anakin cut. Well, Obi-Wan did. Sheevburger says, did you see what Stephen King said about the Oscars? The SJWs are eating their own and it's glorious. I did not, Sheevburger. I will look into that in a moment. And if I'll look it up, because I know for sure we're going to be covering all kinds of stuff like that on the podcast this week, Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the channel. But yeah, the Oscars just seem like they're going to be putting themselves out of existence soon. So I'm not going to be too upset when they're gone. What about you guys?
I don't want to. I'm tired. I haven't watched the Oscars since 2002. I'm just not interested in seeing celebrities slap each other on the back anymore and reward themselves for mediocre accomplishments. I don't know.
The most fun thing that happened in the Oscars is the last few years is them demanding that Kevin Hart apologize for like a gay joke he made 15 years ago, and he just said, fuck it, I'm not doing it. He quit.
Just to fulfill the super chat from Sheepburger, so Stephen King took a different stance. Early on Tuesday morning, he spoke about 3 Oscar categories in which he is able to nominate: Best Picture, Adapted Screenplay, and Original Screenplay. He said that diversity is not a consideration for him when he votes as a member of the Academy. And what's wrong with that? It's best. What's the best? Not the best story behind the story. So I'm on Stephen King's side.
Yes, he said that, and then I also thought, like, I buy a lot of books, like I read a lot, but I'm not into the literary world. I don't follow authors. I don't read interviews. I don't watch interviews. I don't know what fucking half of them look like at all. I have no idea what color half the writers that I read are.
I don't even care, male or female.
It doesn't matter. I actually just go off recommendations on Amazon. Like, I've never been like, what nationality or what race is this person? Like, I'll just pick up shit and I have no fucking clue. I think most people reading books are the same way. I mean, there are people who are, literary groupies and follow authors and know all about them. But for the most part, people, what do you think when you're picking up a book at the airport or you give a shit what the fucking background is of the person? Like,
no, I read the synopsis and ask if it's interesting. That's it.
That's all anybody does. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, one more from Dr. No, and then we're going to talk about the next big segment, which is the one I've been dying to talk about publicly. China banned Ghostbusters 2016 plus Suicide Squad for having ghosts. Censors noted their population was superstitious. Disney bent the knee for nothing. So
they took out. So that would have been. I mean, listen. It would have just been something interesting.
But Luke was the ghost in it, right?
A rip off of obviously the Ghost Army and Lord of the Rings, and it would have been compared to that. But who cares? That was fucking cool. like just do something cool. Like 1,000 Ghost Jedis fighting 1,000 Sith Lords. Like just fucking do it. What? No, China. What? The Chinese are afraid of ghosts? Is that what the fuck we're being told now? So they can't have a Ghost Jedi?
Yeah, because the Chinese government doesn't like what ghosts represent or something. I'm the one that wrote the video this morning. I know what I wrote. Yeah, just go. I'll just promote it again. Just go watch that one specific video. I go into details about stuff. It's a BBC article I was quoting. So, I mean,
here's the thing. If the Chinese market is so important for movies to the point that they're editing films and tailoring films for that market, then why is Sony even working on any more Ghostbusters movies? If they already know that those movies aren't going to be allowed over in China, why would they even, it's we keep getting mixed messages. It's like, well, they really want to cater to China. And it's like, okay. But then over here, they're like, we're really trying to make sure that the Ghostbusters franchise gets off the ground, even though we can't play a single one of those movies in China. So I'm going,
just do like Tarantino, do like Joker, just do your fucking movie and don't worry about it.
Right.
That's their fucking problem if they're afraid of Force ghosts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And their people will look at their government. Obviously, shit will get leaked out and they'll be like, this is what they protected us from. Like, you know what I mean? Like they'll look at their government with more disdain. Fuck it. Fuck their government. Stop helping China.
It's just a very strange, inconsistent, spin with China. We want this market. Oh wait, we really want Ghostbusters. Oh wait, Ghostbusters can't play over there. Hey, we're gonna make this brand new one off of a total flop. Oh wow.
Maybe they're not. Maybe Ghostbusters is not changing it for them, and if they don't like it, then
yeah.
By the way, Japanese have better ghosts anyway. They got that. They got one ghost that he bends over and he's got an eyeball in his anus and he scares people.
What?
Hold on, I got it. Let me look this guy up.
Well, I know that they've got all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, they have really cool ghosts. That's why they get all those Grudge movies and shit. Ghost. Let me just say with eyeball and anus.
Oh, hope you got your VPN on for that one.
Okay. It's called the Shirim.
How do you spell that?
SHIRIME. It's literally like a ghost that bends over moons people, but in the asshole is an eyeball. SHIRIME.
Oh God.
Oh, sounds like Jeff found Mr. Winky.
I'm not even gonna show this.
Oh,
Weird. This is too. What the fuck?
you could show it.
I am not showing this. No, I don't want to get flagged for showing butthole with an eye. Ew.
Anyway,
I would ask where you found this, but it's you, and I'm not surprised.
no, Japanese always has like really cool ghosts. They have really cool ghost stories.
There's a person hanging from a light pole with a eyeball protruding from their anus. What the fuck? God damn it, Cecil. Anyway,
I entertain as well as edify.
Yeah, you're something all right, my friend.
When it comes to your dough, unless you just want some mo, I think you better call.
Dude, I think the Ghostbusters would turn this one down.
Oh my God.
Have you ever seen the Casper movie?
No. I'm aware of it.
Well, in the Casper the Friendly Ghost movie, they're trying to get the ghosts out of the house, and Dan Aykroyd in a Ghostbusters costume runs out and says, "Call somebody else." And so I feel like if the Ghostbusters saw this shit, they would leave. They
should throw that in there, man. If Shiram shows up in Ghostbusters, I'm in.
Oh, we should make it's pronounced Shiram, right?
That's the way I'm reading it.
Because we should have one called Ed Sheeran, and it's just
it's got a red hair on the ass.
Anyway, this is serious for a minute. So, how Star Wars reinforces our prejudices. Now, we use the phrase SJW or this or that. A lot of weird journalists out there in the shill media, but this is a new level of stupid. And now, Michael, I shared this article with you. You had a chance to read it. We discussed it briefly off air before we started, but now we're going to talk about it here. Now, Jesse Milestone of Milestone Entertainment made a video that covered this today. It's very, very passionate. I highly recommend it. Plus, I was in the background the whole time it was being recorded, so I got to watch it first. But this article that we're about to talk about is Star Wars prejudice because of the music. So as John Williams is receiving his 52nd Oscar nomination, we're having a discussion about how his music is racist in Star Wars.
You know what?
Fucking real.
And here's the whole thing. This is my white privilege showing. I never even considered that.
You never what?
I never even considered it, but that's because of my white privilege, probably.
I thought it was your common sense.
No, one or the other.
So,
what the fuck is the music racist? What who writes this shit?
The guy is saying, I don't even know if I can. Okay, I'm going to try this again. The guy is saying, I don't think I have the will to. Okay, the guy is saying that, quote, Star Wars builds on a long history of using Eastern style music to depict evil on screen, or to convey to moviegoers that they are entering an alien world, whereas they use orchestral Western-style compositions for the heroic characters, grand orchestral style of the European Romantics.
How is the Imperial March Eastern?
Oh, I wondered that too. And then he says that Wagner, who I guess was the inspiration for the Imperial March and Holt's The Planets and all that stuff, but specifically Wagner, somebody points out in the comments, I believe, that Wagner was anti-Semitic. But I'm like, oh.
But they said that they used Eastern music.
Right. This guy here, the first commenter, says that George Lucas is a more subtle version of D.W. Griffith. This is a commenter, not the article. Just being clear, he's responding favorably to the article. He says that Yoda is the sole positive Asian depiction, but is a swamp-sucking, pigeon-spouting, last-of-his-kind caricature. That's a quote from his comment.
But up until 5 minutes before the movie was made, he was supposed to be a chimpanzee spray painted green.
Right. So, yeah, I feel like the only way that I know how to even process this is that, Jeff and I talked a little bit right before the show, and I just look at this and I think, what are we allowed to draw from to be inspired anymore? When I say we, I mean everybody in the world. I'm not limiting that from gender, race. Now, I am, for better or worse in this conversation, hopelessly white. There's nothing I can do about what I look like, but I do have to ask myself, what are we allowed to use for inspiration anymore? One of the commenters down here, he said something pretty on point. He said he was basically saying that if John Williams' music over the course of 2 generations has inspired people to go to live orchestras, has inspired people to go to live music and live classical music, he said then it's all worth it. He's like, regardless of whether or not, he's very dubious on this point. He's not saying that this guy is correct. He says, quote, "This appreciation for the music that John Williams brought to them has the unintended side effect of introducing them to the very culture you believe is being undermined. And if the audience cared enough, they might look further at the language of Sanskrit, among others, and maybe, just maybe, they'll come to appreciate those cultures as their knowledge expands," which I thought was a really astute point. And he says, "But if it brings one person to my orchestra's concert hall that wouldn't be there otherwise, that is a sacrifice I'm willing to make." I can't believe that somebody would dig this deep.
First of all, did John Williams actually say that Wagner, or this person is saying he might have been inspired by Wagner, who happened to be anti-Semitic, therefore, so you mean because it sounds like Wagner who was an anti-Semite, or
well, allegedly, according to this commenter,
right?
Yeah,
allegedly,
right.
So just because something sounds like something of somebody who has been, this is as stupid as fucking. Who wrote this? Is this Kathleen Kenyon involved with this article at all?
I'll tell you who wrote it. It's a PhD student. His name is Jeffrey C.J. Chen, PhD student at Stanford University.
That's Ryan Johnson's pen name.
Oh,
he wrote this.
So I mean, there are some shots that they take at this. They talk about orientalizing stereotypes. They bring up Jabba the Hutt smoking hookah. They bring up Watto and his miserly ways, which is the ones that sent off Jesse because Jesse's Jewish, and she's like, "This is a Jewish stereotype. You don't get to steal that for yours." She said it in a very sarcastic tone. But I mean, when I think of Star Wars, and if you go back and watch Empire of Dreams, folks, if you ever want to know where I reference a lot of my Star Wars knowledge from, it's Empire of Dreams. It's, in my opinion, the greatest documentary about Star Wars. Yes, it's officially produced by Lucas. So, I mean, there are some things that get brushed under the rug, like Gil Taylor and his contributions to Star Wars. But even so, it's the only documentary about Star Wars that gets Lucas, Han, Leia, everybody that was involved with the movie. We get Alan Leia Jr., we get executives from Fox that aren't him. We get all these people that were involved with the film. And John Williams himself is in the documentary, and he talks about this big bellicose music that is used to depict villainy. To me, articles like this are why popular culture commentary is really scraping the bottom of the barrel from big entertainment sources, because they have nothing else to say.
Well, no, especially when Jabba was supposed to be inspired by Sidney Greenstreet's character from Casablanca.
Yep,
he wasn't inspired by a racial stereotype. He was inspired by a specific actor who, by the way, was a white guy who wasn't in any kind of brown face makeup or Asian makeup at all. He was playing a European descent white guy in the movie. He was not playing another race. So I don't get where this guy's coming from.
And
$5 bet this guy's never even seen Casablanca.
A few people in the chat said that Wagner was Hitler's favorite composer, which may be true, but that would actually make sense. The whole design of the of the Empire was totally ripping off, like what's his name, Hugo Boss's styles from the Nazi uniforms and the SS uniforms.
Right.
The whole look of the Empire was supposed to evoke, the Nazi imagery. So him using an Imperial March that matched Wagner now makes sense. It fucking goes together. I hate this person. This fucking.
And here's one that I pulled up while I was researching this before the show, Jeff, and I just wanted to share this real quick. So this is a piece from the Wikipedia article about Akira Kurosawa, the famous Japanese filmmaker whose movie Hidden Fortress was one of the main inspirations for Star Wars, which this guy in this article is saying is orientalizing the story, or whatever he said. He does, in other words, this writer clearly doesn't like people drawing inspiration from other cultures to make movies. But he says that the article that I pulled up says here, he says, owing to Kurosawa's popularity with European and American audiences from the early 1950s onward, Kurosawa did not escape the charge of deliberately catering to the tastes of Westerners to achieve or maintain that popularity, something he denied. And it says, Japanese director Nagisa Oshima was the person with a violently negative reaction to Kurosawa's popularity in the West. That Kurosawa had brought Japanese film to a Western audience meant to Oshima that Kurosawa must be pandering to Western values and politics, something Kurosawa always strongly denied. And so my point in bringing this up when I was after I read this article was I was thinking, okay, so does that mean that if we're already in history we've already blamed a Japanese director for his Japanese movies set in Japan as having pandered to a Western audience, now 40 years later from that criticism, we're now saying that drawing influences from Japanese or Asian music, let's say, in a fantasy story is also cultural appropriation and pandering. I don't understand where this ends. It feels like a non-starter argument, but
it's time for people just to say, "Oh, shut the fuck up." Like, what? Just on a whole, like, that's it. Like, enough. You've been fucking coddled too long. We've listened to this horseshit for fucking a decade now. It's just like, enough. Like, no, fuck you.
When I was in film school, there were two women who were in the faculty in the film department, and one of them was the lady that did all of the classic movies. I took the courses from her where we would see Orson Welles and all that kind of stuff. And then this other lady who kind of resembled like a middle-aged Daria. She was sort of the more avant-garde, hoity-toity film professor. And one day they were both kind of doing like a dual class, and somehow Star Wars came up in the discussion of the lecture. And I'll never forget her saying that, Star Wars has all these awful undertones and it's this and it's that. Now, keep in mind, the only prequel that had come out at this point was Phantom Menace. And so we were actually just talking about the original films. And I said, I really think you're reading into this too much. And she said, you can't read into anything too much. And the other film professor, the other lady, both of them were white, by the way, the other lady who ran the classic film stuff, she actually looked over at that moment and said, I think you're kind of in the realm of like mental masturbation at this point. And I was like, oh, damn, like it was now dueling professors. Yeah, I don't understand. Unless this guy just wanted clicks, I'm not sure why he would.
I think so. I mean, this is just, at this point, it's just, you can't be influenced by anything like. So he wants what, full segregation of all races and no mixing of the races? Is that his fucking message?
It seems pretty close to it. It's like I don't want you touching that stuff. Even if it's not actually there. If I hear anything that sounds similar to it, I'm going to assume that's where you got it from, and so then I'm going to condemn you for it. Because we all know that Lucas was inspired by Kurosawa. Martin Scorsese was inspired by Kurosawa. Steven Spielberg was inspired by Kurosawa. Quentin Tarantino was inspired by Kurosawa. I wonder, is this guy going to write an article soon about Kill Bill or something? Or is he only going after Star Wars because it's the highest profile thing?
Or do you think he's ever going to go out and talk about all the American animation influenced by anime? I mean, is he going to go too? I mean, when does it stop? Here's the thing: you're always influenced by something you watch. Everybody is. I mean, if you have an original idea in your head, it's based off something else, and that's fine. That's how shit comes. I mean, even George Lucas will say Star Wars is based off this, and this, and he created his own thing, and billions of people watched it. Well, not billions, and millions and millions of people have watched it. I think if we have this mindset, this regressive mindset of this PhD student, entertainment will suffer. Like, entertainment suffers now because we're always tiptoeing about what's offensive, what's this, what's that. They're always worried about things that aren't problems. Like, I don't care who scores a film as long as they're the best. Let me use an example. GoldenEye is one of my favorite Bond movies. They got the wrong guy to score it. Eric Serra was not the right guy.
Yep, you're right.
And people be like, well, he was, in today's context, be like, oh, he's white, this, that, and the other. It was, blah, blah, blah. They should have got this person. But then they bring it up with the next guy, David Arnold, and he scored the next 3 Bond films. And even if you hate Die Another Day, it has pretty decent music at times. Like, he was the right person. It's not about, I don't care who scores it as long as they are the right person for the job. It's not about their skin color. It's about their quality of work. Sometimes you get the big names like Hans Zimmer who don't do it right. But my point is, like, people like this just are gonna, if anyone in Hollywood or anyone in the entertainment industry listens to this type of shit, you're hurting yourself.
Yeah.
I would advocate, like, don't listen to shit
but
like
that. They are listening, and they just need people to say, fuck you. Like, I mean, at least, and I was hoping this year it would start, Ricky Gervais and Dave Chappelle, and the comedians usually like lead this shit. When you start laughing at them instead of actually entertaining their idiocy, instead of even entertaining it, you just laugh in their face and be like, you're fucking an idiot.
Well, most of the comments here are laughing in the guy's face. Yeah.
Wagner, for people who want to know what he sounds like, it's what the hell is it?
Ride of the Valkyries?
Yes, Apocalypse Now, that scene where they're blasting it as they're doing the attack. Robert Duvall is playing it, the Ride of the Valkyrie. Everybody, that's what everybody knows. But yeah, all right. So when was Wagner? Was from the 1800s. He was probably dead 60 years before World War II.
Right.
How the fuck is he a Nazi? The Nazi Party didn't exist when this guy died. Like, I don't know. What, Hitler enjoyed his music, therefore it's now racist forever? Is that it? Is that the fucking?
I was told one time, this is where people take this. I have a great affinity for the Royal Air Force in World War II. I actually flew in a Spitfire back in September over England. It was like a life bucket goal thing for me. I love the Royal Air Force. They're my heroes. And oftentimes I have like a one of their blue wool, it's called like a battle dress jacket. It's their waist fitted jacket that they would wear during the war. And I have one, and I would wear it to the office sometimes because it's a nice piece of clothing. And somebody got it in their head that because it was I guess they just tweaked out or whatever, because it's from that same time period. These were literally the guys fighting the Nazis. They got it in their head that it was a German World War II piece of clothing. I don't even know. They didn't even talk to me about it. There's no insignia on it or anything. It's just a jacket, right? And I had a manager come by and bring it up on behalf of this person. And I said, are you crazy? I said, not only is this person incorrect, and needs to go do their homework. I said, this jacket is actually from the people that fought and beat that army. This is the literal opposite of what this person thinks it is. So yeah, the lack of education combined with wanting to have a voice, I think, results in these kind of clickbait articles. I
think it's easier to destroy than to create. So rather than taking the time to build or make something, I'm gonna just fucking take apart other people's shit. And
right. Yeah.
I mean, this comes from the Washington Post.
In a way, aren't we guilty of that tonight? Instead of appreciating the rise of Skywalker.
You've convinced me, Cecil. I'm gonna go out and buy that Skywalker Saga disc set. You've really convinced me. Thank you.
I've learned the error of my way. Now I can see it. It was an excellent movie, we're just shitting on it for no reason. I like when all the spaceships came out of the ocean.
But isn't it funny though how this is tearing something? This article is tearing something apart, but it would also. I feel like this is coming from somebody who otherwise would like what's going on with the sequel trilogy on a corporate level, but again, I don't know.
Well, I mean, this person is using the Duel of Fates as a problem area because it uses Sanskrit. The language. I'm just like, I thought it was always to sound like something otherworldly,
right?
That we didn't know, and we didn't want to. Like, okay,
and he's saying that's the problem because he's saying using non-Western music to imply unknown esoteric alien worlds is a racist thing to do.
Just like by this logic, like when are we going to tear down the Chinese theater in Hollywood, or when are we going to stop, all these other things? It's like what line is ever going to be drawn? I don't really think this is going to be a concern for most people. Like, look at John Williams is about to get another Oscar. He just got another Oscar nomination. He might get another Oscar. Who knows? The dude is the greatest film composer of all time. I mean, this little Washington Post piece, it's embarrassing for the publication, because I look at, when we're in college and grade school and high school and all that stuff, you're supposed to look at reputable sources, and they would look at the Washington Post as a reputable source. And this is just like, it's just more crap from the mainstream media. When people say, oh, you guys tear down the news, the media, it's like, yeah, because this is what's considered news. This is what's, coming out from the big news giants. Nothing of quality.
It's just crazy to me that now we're beyond intent. I mean, John Williams has a lifetime of work. He has a lifetime's, level or volume of work. And there is nowhere in his history where he has ever had any hint of intent of undermining people of specific demographics. He's just trying to make music for movies. And it just seems like now, like, in other words, John Williams doesn't have any tweets from 7 years ago that would indicate anything as smoking guns for this kind of article to be written. They're literally having to go in there and forensically make it up.
Although those guys in the prequels, the Nemodians or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's something where you can sit there and go, okay, yeah, I can understand people getting mad about that. I can understand that because that seems a little tone deaf for 1999.
And also, every time they would get up and leave the room, it would go bong. And I thought that was too much.
I heard the song "Turning Japanese" the other day. Mm-hmm. I can see you complain about that one, but not "Duel of Fates." Actually, that song's okay, but it was the 80s.
Well, I remember back when Phantom Menace came out, there were, in addition to the Nemoidians, there were other articles that were written saying that Jar Jar was a Jamaican stereotype. And I was kind of going, well, I guess if you I guess if you squint and you're really waiting for something like that to pounce on, okay. I mean, he's a terrible character, but I don't think, and maybe that's the problem. Like maybe Lucas wasn't thinking enough during Phantom Menace. I don't know. But yeah, as far as the music, that's, you know, to quote the great Danny Glover, this is thin, Riggs.
Wait, and they said Watto, but he was just a greedy merchant with a big nose. Who is he supposed to be a stereotype?
Well, you know, it's funny. When I read the articles on that and they mentioned Watto, the different articles would always peg him as something different. So one article would say Watto was a Jewish stereotype. Another article I would read would say that Watto was like an Arabic stereotype. Nobody could they couldn't come together to pin down what they wanted to agree Watto was.
He reminded me of a Greek guy.
I just remember looking at his poorly CGI'd stubble as a kid and feeling uncomfortable. No, but this article actually makes another point about Indiana Jones, which I thought was, again,
them playing Nagila Ava when every time he came on screen also was a bit.
Oh God! Have you ever heard the Dick Dale version of that song?
Which one?
Was it Hava Nagila? Nagila Hava, however, I honestly don't know the proper name. Excuse me.
You got it. I had it wrong.
Okay. But yeah, there's like a surf guitar version of it from the 60s. It's actually really awesome. So, folks, if you want a musical recommendation from me, there you go.
So you're saying when Watto came on and off the screen, they should have used the surf version and it would have been less offensive?
Oh, yeah, sure. Why not? You know, surf guitar in Star Wars. We've heard dumber things. We've heard...
Where are you going, Annie?
Yeah. No droid or whatever. No ship is worth 2 slaves or whatever. Anyway, no, but real quick, I want to make the Indiana Jones point. Again, this guy, it's like he wants to talk about the Eastern music that wants to depict evil in Indiana Jones. I'm pretty sure the Nazis had their own theme, which was very similar to the Imperial March. And we're talking Last Crusade here. And I mean, was it Chasm and the Brothers of the Crescent Moon or the Cruciform Moon or whatever it was called? Like, they're in that part of the world. Wouldn't you want music to reflect where the character is? So I feel like the guy, if he has a point with Star Wars, he defeats himself with his Indiana Jones stuff because it's globe hopping, you know. And from Russia with Love, the James Bond film, when he goes to who's in Turkey and stuff. Like I have the soundtrack to that, and there's stuff that's meant to sound like the local music. So when you're globe hopping, you don't, you know, when you fly into, I don't know. It's like when you go into a Logan Steakhouse and they play country music, it's expected. So when you go to some other part of the world and you hear, I don't know, you go to Korea and you hear K-pop on the radio, you're like, oh, that makes sense. So if you put a K-pop song in a movie where a person goes to Korea, that's not really racist. It's just like, hey, this is where they're located in the world. We're trying to build the soundscape around the character. But I don't know. If we're gonna be so worried about this kind of shit in the future, I fear for all future film scores. Like we barely have anything memorable these days, but
well, maybe that's why Hans Zimmer just makes every score now, because you know it's just the safe thing to do.
What do you think he's gonna do with the James Bond one?
That's what he's gonna do.
Did you hear they announced who's singing the theme song today? The title?
No.
Billie Eilish, that kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She's writing it too.
Yeah. So that, hey, remember what happened with Sam Smith when they gave him the reins? We had the worst James Bond song ever.
Oh, that was horrible. I remember that. That was awful.
Yeah, but what's her name? Adele did a good one.
Oh, Adele did do a great one, but did she write that though?
I don't know, but she lost 100 pounds and she looks good.
Good for her. I've always thought her music was just okay. Like she has a good voice, but I don't like all her music. But I do like the Skyfall song quite a bit. So if we could, there was a rumor at one point they offered her $7 million to sing the Spectre song, and she turned it down because she didn't want to do more Bond. But that's just something I read years ago. I don't know if that's true or was.
I don't believe that for a minute.
The Skyfall song was everywhere, dude. I wish she would have stuck around and done like the rest of the Daniel Craig.
What does that mean? I want to turn down millions of dollars. Why? No one would do that.
People turn down, big stars turn down money left and right if they're not feeling up to it.
Let's see who wrote it. Songwriter Adele. She wrote it.
Okay, cool. Well, she did a good job. All right. So, do you guys have any final things you want to say about the Star Wars Prejudice music besides it's dumb?
Naturally, I'm outraged.
All right. Are you literally shaking?
A little bit. But it's
Michael?
in here.
Me, I guess my thought would just be that, you know, and again, this gets back to the live stream, Jeff, that you and I did a year ago or something like that, or maybe it was a year and a half ago. To anybody listening, I mean, we're all trying to have, you know, real conversations about this stuff, and I know I'm getting a little heady here, but Jeff, you might recall what I went through after that other discussion we all had, where I thought we were all adults in the room. We're trying to have an adult discussion about this, and if anybody is incensed and wants to fly off the handle later, think twice before you do it, please, because nobody here is you know, wanting to do anything but just have an adult conversation. There's no ill intent here.
No, none whatsoever. And I have found that, you know, sometimes just let those people spin their wheels and they'll realize that.
I just wish that more artists and musicians, before they start to compose or make anything, would consider this guy's feelings before they do anything that wrote this article.
God damn it, Cecil. Our friend Drake is Sick says Kelly is Vietnamese and the Chinese hate them. Well, that's sad. American Myth sent in $2. Thank you very much. Swinging Cod says MCU has everyone snowed. Most of the Captain America Liberty statements are generalized and can be easily edited out without affecting the story. That, you know, that equals the Chinese cut. Well, Swinging Cod, I guess I'd have to watch him again under that context to look out for that stuff, but I do side with most of the shit Captain America says, especially in Civil War. I know people say, oh, Iron Man's right, but Iron Man's responsible for a lot of deaths, more so than anyone else, so I don't think he has a leg to stand on. And I'm not talking about his Stark Tech warmongering. I'm talking about his Ultron stuff. You know, his ego has caused a lot more deaths than Captain America's desire to protect Bucky. American Myth says, reposted, Jeff, I hope you are liking LA. John Wick 4 and The Matrix have the same release date on IMDb, May 21st, 2021. Thoughts? First off, American Myth, thank you. LA is cool. I've barely been here. Just been trying to do channel stuff. It's weird. It's like I'm doing the same shit from just a different room. But I like it. It's nice. The weather's kind of cold. I like who I live with, so that's great. And to your question slash statement, I will be seeing John Wick 4 opening day. Matrix 4, that's going to be a hard sell. Do not like Matrix 2 and 3. And but John Wick 4's first day guarantee, unless I don't know, in another country or something crazy like that. Do you guys have any thoughts on Matrix 4 and Matrix 4, John Wick 4? Are you going to see either one?
You know, John Wick 4. If it's finally more than just 500 headshots, then maybe I'll see it. I loved the John Wick concept. I own the first movie, but I really wish they had done more with the sequels and mixed it up a little bit and evolved the aesthetic a little bit more. As far as the Matrix 4, that's just coming out of nowhere because I'm going, guys, do you not remember that the Matrix 3 was critically lambasted? I mean, that thing never should have gotten past the first Matrix, in my opinion.
Yeah, Matrix should have been one movie. Let it be classic. That was it. It was never needed 2 and 3, and it definitely doesn't need 4.
Right.
I agree. I only want to watch the first one.
Yep. It's the only one I own on 4K.
How's it look?
Looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty good for a 1999 mostly CGI film that, you know, is probably only like a 2K master upscaled to 4K. I'm a real dork, aren't I? Anyway, yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, when it comes to the picture stuff, I, you know, am as into it as you are. I may not know the intricacies as well as you do, but like, nice transition. We're talking about the Star Wars 4K box set. that is coming out now. It's got not a release date, but it has more information than we originally knew. Where the hell is this? There we go. So, Michael, you had asked me my thoughts on this, and we discussed it briefly. Cecil, is there a world where you would actually spend $250 on a Star Wars 4K box set?
No, but maybe a 4K Spawn movie, because I would love to see that. That in high def with their digital effects would look great. I think.
Malboja. There are some movies that you can go back and laugh at. I think Spawn's one of the funniest examples of like terrible CGI.
Fucking video game going on in the background.
Not even that good. We're talking like low end PS1 cutscene Final Fantasy VIII graphics. So
what do you get for $250?
You get 9 discs of Star Wars, the Skywalker saga. So that's what everybody wants, right?
Well, you get 27 discs. First, you get the 9. You get the 9 movies on 4K. You get the 9 movies on Blu-ray, and then you get what we are assuming is going to be a special features disc for each film.
No, I'm not buying that. Listen, if you got Disney Plus for what, $6.99 a month, you're gonna have every one of those movies available. And no, fuck that shit. That's 50 months worth of fucking Disney Plus for one set that's included.
Yeah.
I mean, the box looks nice. That's not enough.
No. And plus, for as nice as it looks, couldn't they have chosen something a little more dynamic than just the Death Star? I mean, you couldn't do like a lightsaber or,
I also wonder why the Death Star. It's only in one of the film, this version. Obviously, we know the Death Star 2 is a thing in Starkiller Base.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's cool that you want to put something from A New Hope on the front. I get it. It's kind of sleek looking. But yeah, I would have done something else. I actually hate the book that holds the discs. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that at all.
Yeah, me neither. I've got those books for the later Doctor Who Blu-ray sets. And while I know they say that they coat Blu-rays and 4Ks in a better scratch-proof whatever than DVDs were, I still don't trust it. It's why I don't like my Indiana Jones Blu-ray set. It's like constantly sliding those discs in and out.
Yep, I hate it because too sometimes my fingerprints get on the edge, and a switch can sometimes not read well. So
yep, you're right.
Did the David Tennant seasons hit Blu-ray yet?
Yeah, the David Tennant seasons hit Blu-ray here as one big set, and then it went out of print.
Well, shit.
I think you can get the seasons individually on Blu-ray as well.
Can I ask you guys a question slightly off topic? Because you guys ever see Black Hole?
Yeah.
What the fuck was that ending?
I'd have to go back and rewatch it. I only saw it once as a kid. I know the movie. I've been meaning to rewatch it, I haven't. It's
a pretty dark movie for kids. It's like he killed the crew, turned them into zombies. Then he's doing this, and then at the end, I don't understand. He ends up in hell, or did they go to heaven? It's a fucking really weird ending for that movie.
Yeah, a Walt Disney picture.
I go online and look for somebody to break it down. No one has.
Well, it's one of Disney's lost classics, really.
All right, Maximilian went to hell, says Batmanuel. It was weird, man. I would love to fucking find out what the written story was on that. It was strange. Anyway, sorry.
No, apologize.
The Blu-ray, I heard it's on 4K on Disney Plus, but the Blu-ray that they came out with was part of their like Disney's Columbia House program or whatever it is. I heard the Blu-ray is really disappointing, so I don't know what the 4K transfer looks like on Disney Plus.
I've actually never seen the Black Hole, so
the action figures are worth a shit ton of money.
Really?
Yes, they are. Like there's one called the Humanoid. He kind of looks like Cobra Commander in a bathrobe with big socks on, like the action figure. And that action figure was only sold in Canada. And now a carded example, the last time I saw a carded example on eBay, which was years ago, it was 10 grand. Yeah. So, and that's just one example. A lot of the other black hole figures are worth a lot of money too.
Well, that robot was one of the best looking robots I've ever seen in a movie.
Which one?
The fucking red one, Max.
Oh, Max. Yeah. Maximilian.
It was a cool looking movie. I like, it's all obviously practical effects and everything, but it's definitely a cool looking movie. I think I want the explanation on that ending. People are saying he went to hell, but yeah, which would make it more like Event Horizon, really.
Yeah, I'm looking it up from the Mego Museum right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look, that's a wormhole, no pun intended, that I'll go down later because a rabbit hole. Because honestly, this is the type of shit I'll spend hours on.
Yeah.
Look at it. Oh, okay. That's why I'm worried if we were to ever meet Michael, it would never end the conversation. Go on.
Well, I'll one day we'll finally meet, and we'll have to have a chessboard timer, like one of those, so we know when to stop.
Yeah, we'll just set it for 30. We'll just do a 36-hour timer because we'll run the clock out. We'll be like, shit, has it been a day and a half already? I'm still good. You good?
Have I really gone through 2 bottles of old Overholt already? Damn.
The best part is we'll just live stream the entire thing, but not address the audience. We'll just be like, "This is a conversation. We're here. We're glad you're here. Thank you. We're gonna do this. Just watch."
Yeah, it'll be like the first YouTube performance arc. Oh, that's funny.
Let's see. Nathan Brake says, "Oh, sorry." Swinging Cod says, "I could see Cecil's rectum holding at least 3 I could see Cecil's rectum holding at least 3 Star Destroyers and a Mon Calamari cruiser, even if he is sober. Even if he is a sober bitch. # mix."
Wait, is my camera on?
No.
So how can he see that?
It's Swinging Cod. He has these powers.
He's right.
Your sphincter can't expunge volumes of that magnitude.
This is so weird. All right, Cecil, just don't show that on camera, please.
Fine.
Nathan Brake says, "Bring me on. I'll explain Star Wars lore." Nathan Brake, we got to talk about your RPG game that you're telling me about all the time. Carl Page says, "No, Plagueis was the master, and Palp and Maul killed him." Oh, okay. Yeah, we got some clarification for that earlier. I just always assumed he was the person they were talking about in the story. Dr. Coffinail says, "My cut of episode 9, Rey pleasures herself with a Sith dagger for 2 hours." 2 full hours, man. That's Darth Vader's disembodied charged phallus. Here he is. He's back. He says, "Has anyone ever told you the story of Darth Phallus, the badly burnt? It's me. It's my story. I was on the High Council and again wasn't granted the rank of master." Well, I'm sorry, Darth Vader's disembodied charged phallus. And just for the record, man, I have an action figure of you now. I showed it on the High Council when Ethan, Jeremy, and myself reunited for one more night. I did not have a chance to pack it, but I'll bring it back out here and I'll show it in some videos. So thanks, Salvador, because he is a custom toy maker. He has his own channel, 2 Cent Toys, and he's been doing a lot of cool stuff. TLJ Russian Bot says, "Y'all are the best council ever. Jeff is the hard man, Retro middleman, and Cecil the lefty." I'm digging tonight's dynamic quite a bit, actually, if I make sense myself.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, thanks guys for joining me. I know we were going up against EFAP, but we still had respectable High Council numbers. So I don't. What?
They were still on?
Dude, they're still on now. The show never ends. Mahler just changes the episode number mid-show because it never stops.
Oh my God, is Anna still over there? She was dying. She's got high fevers. She was sending me DMs, and I'm like, "Aren't you on a show right now? Just go to bed." It's running a high fever.
Swinging Cod has another super chat. Thank you. He says, "As bad as Fantastic Four was, Evans and Chiklis captured Johnny and Ben. Grufenfeld wasn't bad as Reed. Alba was at least hot. Dune was poorly written, bad plot. Yeah, I thought The Thing and Johnny Storm were great. I really liked their dynamic, and I really liked all the jokes they played on each other in the middle of the film. My friend Dave owns a comic book store called Rock and Rooster in Cincinnati, and he's one of the biggest FF fans I've ever met. And in his opinion, and he's been reading the book since it existed, so what, we're at 50, almost 60 years now. He's just like, hey, they got the characterization rights. The movie wasn't very good, but they got the characters right.
They got the family dynamic down of them, for sure. I also like Lawrence Fishburne's voiceover of Silver Surfer.
That was him?
Yeah.
Dude, I saw that movie once when it came out in theaters, and then I think I owned it on Blu-ray because it was $5 in a 2-pack with Daredevil, the director's cut. So that was just a one-time watch. King Artura says, one could say Rey blew it too, but Kylo died. I guess in regards to the earlier stuff, Rey did blow a lot of... I shouldn't say it like that. Let me rephrase. Rey ruined Star Wars. Is that as non-offensive as I could say?
I think you're correct in the sense that Rey did... Her character not being a character and being a cipher ruined Star Wars, because Star Wars was all about mythological archetypes that had character arcs, and for her to just be this prop that she was like a turnkey prop for every scene all the way through the trilogy. Oh, we can't get out of this mess, give Rey another power or give Rey another thing, and it's so disingenuous to sit there after 4 years of this for looking back going, saying that this isn't fair to criticize her because of her gender is crazy, because I don't care how many arguments and false equivalencies people have thrown up about Luke Skywalker or Anakin Skywalker or whatever. They can be checkmated at every attempt. It's like, no, Luke didn't get trained properly and went off and got his hand cut off and then tried to commit suicide. I would call that a fail. Rey didn't have anything like that happen to her.
Nope.
Who, Rey Skywalker?
Yes,
Rey Skywalker. That's right.
Have you seen the meme of Lois Lane from Man of Steel where she's talking to Superman and she's like, "What does the S stand for?" And then Superman goes, "Skywalker." It's got Leia and Luke goes in the background.
Yes. Did you see the one where it's her igniting the yellow lightsaber and they've made it into an ad for LifeLock? You never know when your identity can be stolen.
Yes. Oh, dude, the best thing to come out of the movie is the memes. Seriously, I've had so much fun with it. Like the Last Jedi had memes, whatever, but the Rise of Skywalker memes are so well done because I feel like the internet's on board with this movie kind of sucking. So
the ones where they just go through every time someone died is like, why don't you just force heal me?
Yeah.
And then they show the credits because the movie's over at that point. Why don't you just force heal me?
Dengar has a great idea, Swinging Cod has a great idea for a Star Wars movie, Michael. Dengar, a Star Wars story.
I mean, what they should have done at Disney in hindsight, looking at all this, and they learned all the wrong lessons. They should have just been doing standalones. They never should have done episodic saga films. They should have just kept doing Rogue One, Solo, Dengar, Bosk, whatever you want to do. FX7, A Bad Day at the Hospital, like something like that. Like just do that, because even if a few flop, there's always another one coming around, and some of them are going to be great, some of them are going to be fluff, and some of them are going to be but nothing's going to disappoint as much as a bad saga installment. They could have avoided that problem altogether.
But they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Jeffrey Turner, aka Mega Jetty 1, says my Darth Vader film would be like Alien Isolation. Was that the last Alien movie, right? Or was that a video game?
I don't know Alien Isolation.
Let me look that up real quick because I don't know Alien Isolation either. Oh crap. Yeah, it looks like a video game. Yeah, it's a survival video game. Oh, this one. Okay, that's got like Ripley's daughter or something and her granddaughter. Amanda Ripley. Okay. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Produced by Dion Lay. Sheevburger is back. It says, Morbius better link to the MCU. Morbius better link into the MCU because Black Widow is dead. No progression to overall story. And Eternals is going to be woke as hell. Feige drank the woke Kool-Aid. Sheevburger, you're kind of reading my mind a little bit on my next 2 future Marvel videos. Everybody loves Spider-Man. Spider-Man's Marvel's biggest character ever. And, you know, when you could tie in stuff into that universe, but somehow not have Spider-Man in it, you're doing 2 things. You're exciting Spider-Man fans with the bigger Spider-Man universe, but you're also disappointing us because, hey, no Spidey.
I like the idea that maybe in the Sony universe, there's a Spider-Man who's actually Spider-Man and not like Tony Stark Jr.
Well, I don't know if you saw it, Cecil, in the trailer. Jared Leto's walking down the alleyway, and there's a picture of a Spider-Man poster on the wall. And if you look closely, it's the Sam Raimi costume. Now, some of our eagle-eyed listeners will notice that it is a still from the video game from PS4, but the actual costumes from the Tom Holland game, or in the Tom Holland costumes from the movies, are all in that game. So they could have chosen to put that exact same pose with the Tom Holland costume. So I don't know what they're doing, if it's a mistake, if it's just an oversight, if they'll CGI it out later, if it's an Easter egg to catch us paying attention. But they do show a Spider-Man poster, and it is the Sam Raimi costume from Spider-Man 2. So I don't know what it means, but
I would love bring back Toby and do some fucking Spider-Man movies in Sony, and let them have this the Tom Holland one in the MCU.
That's a perfect world for me because I like the first 2. I love the first 2 Spider-Man movies, and 3 is not good. I'm gonna say it, but the first 2 are 2 of my favorite superhero movies. With Spider-Man 2 as my absolute favorite. I never wanted that series to end, and Tobey Maguire, too bad they did end it because yes, he's older, but I mean, you could have had another 5 or 6 years out of him because he didn't age poorly. You know, Spider-Man is an adult in the comic books, as you guys know this. We don't always deal with high school age Spider-Man. In fact, I think it's 28 issues and he's out of high school. So we're on issue almost 900. I mean, the numbers don't really balance out for high school versus non-high school. Native Utopian Dreamer, I like that name actually, says Disney bought Lucasfilm despite having no plan, simply to grab it first. Pure monopolization. Another studio might have had success on par with the MCU, generating over $20 billion of competition for Disney. I like that statement. What do you guys think about that?
You know, I think we talked about this a little bit on the last live stream or last High Council that we did. But, you know, my whole take on this has been, ever since they announced, and I know that this is about comic book competition with Marvel essentially, but ever since they announced that the next phase of the MCU was going to be tied to the television properties on Disney Plus, like you got to watch those to keep up, I have been more and more disengaged from coming back in for phase 4 or 5 or whatever the hell it is. I feel like I'm just going to ride out with Cap and Peggy Carter at this point, unless somebody tells me that, you know, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is just, you know, fucking off the chain and I got to see it. I don't know. I might go into the back catalog and just start watching classics I've never gotten around to seeing. I don't know. I know I sound jaded as hell, but
you sound just like me, to be perfectly honest.
I was happy to hear that Sony wasn't letting them use Spider-Man. I was like, I won't miss that Spider-Man. And I don't dislike the actor. I don't dislike a lot of the things, except that's not Spider-Man. That's not who Spider-Man is at all.
It's not. I mean, I try to.
The character is not Spider-Man. It's a guy with spider powers in that universe, but that's not Spider-Man. That's not Peter Parker. Yeah, I mean, it's a likable character. You know, his MJ is a likable character. All done well, but that doesn't feel like Spider-Man at all.
Mm-mm.
It's something completely different. So
yeah, I've only watched Homecoming the one time, And I didn't even go see Far From Home because Homecoming, it was watchable, but like Cecil's saying, it doesn't feel like the Spider-Man I grew up on in the comics and the cartoon. And his whole world is just so affected and different. You know, Marissa Tomei's hotness notwithstanding, that I just, you know, I mean, I don't dislike Tom Holland. I think he's a really great Spider-Man. But as far as something that inspires me to get up out of my seat and go to the theater or go get the disc and watch the next MCU Spider-Man movie, it's, you know, now that Michael Keaton wasn't in the next one, I mean, it's like
there was no Uncle Ben because Tony Stark was his Uncle Ben,
right?
And it's but that no, it was the whole lesson of Spider-Man. Spider-Man's character, I mean, boy, they really nailed it. Raimi nailed it in the first one. It was, he wanted to use his powers to make himself rich, to make some money. He didn't do the right thing. And, you know, the person he loved most died because of it. So he's spending his whole life to make up for that mistake. That's his character, is that he failed to act. And this is what happened. And that's, they just eliminated that from the fucking character here. It's like, oh, I'm trying to live up to Tony Stark. It's like, I don't know. It's fine as a character, but it's not Peter Parker. It's not.
Yeah.
And Peter Parker has an awesome origin story. Like the letting the guy go because fuck you. What's in it for me? And then it coming back to bite him, and then him learn. Like, it's great. That was brilliant by Stan Lee. And why not use it? Why does he have to be just wanting to fill Tony Stark's shoes? That's not from the comic. That's nothing.
Because it's light-hearted, feel good, and they took away the wrong message from the Raimi trilogy. I mean, people want to think, everything bad about Spider-Man 3 isn't the whole Raimi trilogy. You know, they get the character of Peter and Spider-Man. I like that version. You know, it's late 60s, Romita, Stan Lee, all that stuff. It's fun, but the power, the responsibility, all the hallmarks of his character are there. So,
yeah, I didn't get any of that from Tom Holland.
No, and there's no
heart to it.
No.
It is a likable, nice kid, and you like him, but the heart isn't there. It's not the character. He didn't. I don't know. There's not a sense of, like, Peter Parker's like always. Like in a sense of loss. He's always in tragic situations. That wasn't going on. There was no feeling of that way. When you look at Tom Holland, you're not like, oh, this is a down on his luck. Can't get ahead no matter what he does at all. You don't get that. He's getting like fucking Stark tech and flying around in jets. Like, okay, that's a cool character, but it's not Peter Parker.
Agreed. Cecil, you know my stance on Spider-Man. Folks, I'll have that video to you guys tomorrow. But, yeah, I agree with what naive utopian dreamer said. Grimjoy, thank you very much for your generous super chat. The Jedi told Luke to kill his father. Luke refused. Luke's last impression of the Jedi was they were wrong and needed to change. The sequels are just restating old issues and presenting them as new. I don't think I've actually thought about that. I know that sounds like a really basic thing to miss out, but I guess because I don't know. I know the original trilogy so well by heart that I don't even like think about those things. They just play out in my head the way they are. But yeah, that is exactly what Luke did. But it's kind of dumb that he became what he became for many reasons. But that one's a new reason for me. You guys have any comment on Grimjoy Super Chat?
Cecil, I'll let you take this one.
The whole thing of what Luke became, it doesn't make any sense to his character at all. It's a different personality. It's just, it's even more stark than the Peter Parker from, like, the Luke in The Last Jedi and Last Jedi bears no resemblance other than the fact that it's the same actor. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Why that guy would give up he sees that his nephew's gonna go bad, so his first thing is to fucking kill him in his sleep. That's Luke Skywalker. What?
Yeah.
He would give up on his father after he's blowing up planets. but he gave up. But this kid had a bad dream, so he's like, I better kill him quick.
Well, again, that gets back to the whole thing that we've talked about, for years now since Last Jedi, which is that, and even Mark Hamill talked about it, where they were just square pegging into a round hole a brand new personality for Luke Skywalker to just tick some boxes to justify offing his character. And you're going, once it gets back to the whole thing, I thought you guys were the pandering studio. I thought you guys understood that we wanted this character. We loved this character. Wow. This would be like if Disney turned around in a movie that in our latest animated classic coming this summer, we're going to murder Mickey Mouse. They'd never do that. And yet they did it with the Star Wars franchise. It's like, what the hell, guys?
You want to see what your hero's been up to for 30 years? He's a hermit on a rock sucking on a sea monster's tit.
Right. But remember, it's a movie for kids.
It's like, that's what he's been like. They're going to have so many adventures to tell about what Luke Skywalker's been up to for the last 30 years. No, he's a hermit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Poor Luke. That's all I can say. Poor Mark Hamill. You thought he was going to have this big comeback.
Should have been like, yo, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Didn't have the money to do that. So Joseph Bienowitz says the duck side. So I guess that's the side of the Force where all this garbage comes from. Swinging Cod says Chris Terrio still gets work because he sucks a mean dick, allegedly.
I just don't understand why that guy is still working in the genre filmmaking. These franchises. I do not get it. I mean, especially when no matter what they say, they knew that Rise of Skywalker needed to be a bigger hit than it turned out to be. And you know what? Maybe if you'd had a better writer than Chris Terrio, you might have eked out a slightly better script. Jeez.
Well, they didn't. It's about who you know in this town, so not what you know.
Yeah, you're right.
King Archer sent in 2. Thank you very much, King Archer. He says, after The Force Awakens, I was left with a mild dislike. After The Last Jedi, I was furious by the time I reached my car. For Rise of Skywalker, I didn't even bother. Thanks, Disney. And he gives a middle finger emoji. Then King Arturus also says, yay, Star Wars. And also, my 3PO is above average. Andy of Avalon, thank you very much for your generous super chat. He says, hey, lads, do me a solid, please. Here's a tenner for it. Tell EVS he owes me $380 for my Foot Vader. He'll know who I am. The old Green Lantern fan he took money from and never posted/delivered. All right, Andy of Avalon, I will relay your message. I'm taking a picture of your super chat right now. And I will send it to Ethan over Twitter. So thank you very much, Andy. Andy of Avalon also said, and here's $2 to call him a cunt. Cheers. Well, I won't call him anything. But because, you don't shoot the messenger. But if you guys had some deal and something you couldn't get in contact with him, we'll at least send it out. So there you go, Andy. Thank you very much. Dick Pick says, you guys need to watch videos. You missed a lot. What videos? If it's the more of the leaked script, sure, I'll check it out and talk about it, make my own video. But we're going on the Reddit stuff that, we cited our source that we got it from. So that's what we can check out. But if there's more, I will. Lorgar Aurelian says, Horus did nothing wrong. I don't know who Horus is. Do you guys? Horus?
I don't know who that is.
Well, read it again. What is it?
Horus did nothing wrong.
Horus did nothing wrong. I don't know who that is.
Sheevburger says Coruscant was Boardwalk in Star Wars Monopoly before the prequels were made, so Retro is 100% right. The picture is basically just a big black Sith temple.
Is it Horsecock Johnson?
God damn it. I don't know. I still don't know who that Horus is. Sorry, Lorgar Aurelian. I feel bad when people send in a super chat that I have no clue what they're talking about. So I just apologize profusely. Sheevburger also says, what would be your guys' director for the next Star Wars movie? Mine would be Matthew Vaughn, so I'd actually see a legit lightsaber battle.
Next director for the next Star Wars movie. Can I pick somebody who's dead?
What the hell? They have just as good a chance as directing it as someone good.
I know, right?
Just give it to the fucking Marvel guys. Let them fucking put out some kind of fucking popcorn thing that's fun for a minute.
I'd like to see, so one of the Marvel guys, and I was actually thinking of Captain America director Joe Johnston. I think he would probably he'd do a fun movie.
I don't even mind if you give it to the Wakiti or one of those, like somebody. Just make a fun fucking Star Wars movie, build it back up, and then you could start getting into the lore. But like, it's got to be fun first.
It is amazing how these movies, these latest saga films, in their declared attempt to be aspirational, they are actually anti-aspirational. Like, there's nothing in these films are so dystopian and bleak that you sit back and you go,
there's no sex appeal in all three movies at all.
Right.
None of the men have swagger. None of the women are sexy. It's a sexless universe. Like, those three movies there's no sex appeal. There's no guy you want to be, girl you want to bang. Fine. Yeah. Daisy Ridley's a pretty girl, and there are actresses that are pretty, but I'm saying in the context of that movie, there's no sex appeal. They stripped out sex from. Now you look at the original trilogy, it had tons of, Han and Leia, and then you had even Anakin and Padme, but this series, they took out any kind of sexiness, any kind of swagger, any kind of beauty, just ripped it right out.
It really doesn't make sense why when all the Marvel movies are the opposite.
Right.
I
still can't fucking round the circle or square the circle on how the fuck the same company Marvel put out this. There's no thought. There's no sex appeal. It's just this joyless fucking garbage. Give it to Wakiti or somebody fun to just start over.
I would throw a Marvel director in there too. Someone who does good visuals. God, I'm trying to think. The Russo brothers is the most basic answer because I like what they did, but I'll just say a Marvel director that didn't disappoint. So anybody besides the people who did Captain Marvel?
I'll give it to James Gunn.
Guardians of the Galaxy is like what a fun Star Wars movie would be.
Guardians of the Galaxy is everything that Star Wars isn't. It has sexy women, swaggering fucking heroes, fun. Yeah, this generation, kids that watched fucking Guardians of the Galaxy, they're not looking at Star Wars. It's shit next to that. It is this generation's kids, that's their Star Wars, the Guardians of the Galaxy, not Star Wars. Star Wars is a fucking joyless mess of shit next to fucking Guardians of the Galaxy.
Agreed. Let's see. Thrash Metal Fiend says, even though I'm your average union working man, I could have written a better Star Wars sequel trilogy than Disney gave us. Your channel rules. Well, Thrash Metal Fiend, thank you very much for that compliment. Maybe you do what you do, but I'm sure you'd write a better Star Wars movie because the people just don't care that write it. They look at a check. There's passion here in this channel, the Fandom Menace. It would be interesting if we all took the time and the Fandom Menace channels all created like one unified Star Wars script and we went through and made something. Not like a movie, just writing a script, something basic that doesn't require funding or anything, crazy. It's just like, oh, here's our idea. We went through redrafts, a couple things like that. It would be fun. But Thrash Metal Fiend, again, thank you very much. And hope you enjoy the content that we put out this week and next week. And for anyone out there that's been wondering where we were, yes, we were gone for the holidays and my move, but it's over and we're back. And I'm glad you guys are having us. Walking Tin Can says, I'm more disgusted listening to Sober Cecil than Tom Hanks was listening to Ricky Gervais.
Damn, that's cold.
People want me drunk.
I've only hung out with you while drinking, so.
That's true.
John McMaster says, 1917, no female soldiers, so triggered, LOL. Ooga Booga, thank you very much. He says, all hail the High Council, down with Mary Sue Skywalker. Yeah, I don't like her. Never have. Michael, I want to ask you a question. You too, Cecil. So last week on the podcast proper, we made a joke about basically how Rey picked her own identity. So if you could adopt yourself into a fictional family, who would it be?
A fictional family. I would, let's see.
I would be the one. I would be Bruce Wayne's brother, but I wouldn't become a superhero. I would just live off the fucking billions. Billions of dollars, and your parents are gone when you're a teenager. I'd be Bruce's brother.
Okay, well, I don't want to accidentally say, because I heard it on one of the last. I don't remember if it was Good Morning Pop Culture or another High Council, but somebody said he wanted to be one of the Kents, and that turned into a whole thing.
That was Nick.
yeah.
Why would you want to be one of the Kents?
I don't. I'm just bringing it up because I remembered it.
Brother is fucking got all the power in the world, and you're working on a fucking farm.
That's why I thought it was funny. I'm not saying that's my choice. I guess I would want to be a Kenobi, because Obi-Wan was really cool, and who knows, maybe I could be the C student Jedi or something. That
he's celibate.
Well, I mean that's probably why I'm a C student Jedi, because I just couldn't quite stay in line.
Well, Obi-Wan did have the Duchess Satine in the Clone Wars, so
right.
He had to dabble in a little bit of the action, as they say.
See, if they had been smart, knowing that the Mandalorian was coming out on the eve of Rise of Skywalker, they could have written the script to plausibly make Rey a Kenobi, and then flashed back to the Mandalorian situation with Obi-Wan to explain how she is the granddaughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and all the audience would know what a Mandalorian is, because that new show would have just landed, and people have been like, whoa, and then Rey wouldn't have been all that out of bounds taking on the Skywalker name. She wouldn't have even had to. She could have just said, my name's Rey Kenobi or whatever.
Right.
But
I feel your pain, man.
Oh man. I lose my words. I'm so astounded by their stupidity.
Oh yeah, too bad we didn't think of it. Anyway, start shooting.
Logan Michael Anti-Funko Pop says, heads up, the NECA Halloween 3-figure set comes out next month. NECA revealed more photos, and they look great. They also revealed more TMNT. Pop gay. Logan Michael, I want to buy everything you tell me about. I currently don't have the space, but if there's more TMNT that are the cartoon figures, I might get those, because I was one of the few lucky ones to go to my local Target and find all 4 sets of the Turtles with the cartoon aesthetic, and I think those are great looking figures. I kind of want to get the set with April and Casey Jones and all of them, so I might become a Ninja Turtles pop culture collector.
Yeah, I'd like to get the April O'Neil set for sure. I missed out on the four Turtles. I'm considering trying to hunt those down.
I mean, if I ever see them at a Remnant Target out here, we can always figure something out. We can always send it to you. So if you're on the lookout for something like that, that's still, might be in some stores, just let me know, man.
Okay, thanks.
What do you think about the Turtles becoming like a bigger, they were kind of like just a parody of Daredevil, yet they became bigger than Daredevil ever was.
Yeah.
Is there anything else like that where someone did a spoof and the spoof became bigger than what they were spoofing?
That's a great question.
Well, more people love Spaceballs than the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, but
I'm kidding.
You're not wrong, though. That's the thing. You're not wrong.
Yeah. And oddly, it's Disney that's still searching for more money because they messed up their franchise. I can't think of another example like that. But you're right. That is a strange turn of events.
Orville, someone said, is I don't know. It's definitely not bigger than Star Trek, but it's more loved.
Yeah,
it could be in 20 years. But yeah, it's something that's kind of being spoofed. But I mean, the Turtles just fucking blew up, man.
Oh, dude, I'm 31. I was a 90s kid. Turtles were still fairly new when I was young. So I remember I watched the cartoon a little bit, but I was a Power Rangers kid. So, I mean,
did you watch the Toys That Made Us?
I did.
They didn't really get into the Daredevil part of it.
I think I didn't like. I mean, I liked the Turtle episode for different reasons, but I feel like Michael and I had this discussion last week. They've made the conversation a little less about the toys and more about the people behind them, and which is fine. I get it, but like I felt like the first season, especially with the Star Wars stuff, there was more business and more toy talk that I was hunting for. But I don't know. The Power Ranger one was okay.
That was interesting to me. I didn't know. I never watched a single episode of that show, so it was all new to me.
So Cecil, remember like they would show all that shit, like all the original stuff?
Yeah.
My mom, my single mom, who was working in a factory at the time, somehow hunted down everything that Christmas. So like that's why it's not about the toys, it's the story behind it. But for me, like the commercial or the thing where they were showing all the parents like rushing to the store doing all that shit. That was her, and somehow she found everything. So I always hear those stories because I'm like, oh, there's all my shit that I still have to this day.
Oh, you still have all that stuff?
I have every toy I ever bought. I never threw anything out. I don't believe in it. So that's why, I mean, Michael knows what's up about collecting stuff. I'm not telling him anything new, but I saved everything. I mean, every Batman figure I've ever had, it's still, I mean, somewhere it has the accessories in the house, but yeah, it's all there. Inspector Gadget, all that shit, still there.
A box of Batman '89 cereal somewhere.
Salvador sent me a box. I'm never going to open it, but did you eat it when it was new? Like, did you ever have it back then?
No.
To me, it looks like it's Captain Crunch. I can't.
Everything is Captain Crunch. Mr. T cereals, Captain Crunch, everything.
I should go. I live across the street from a grocery store. I should go get some Captain Crunch. Ooga Booga says, yay for Shirime, which is that weird Japanese butthole eye creature. Thank you, Cecil. I'm going to have nightmares now. The Bunker says, Cecil needs to come hang at Horror Hound.
Where's that?
Cincinnati. It's a convention I'm working.
When?
March 20th through the 22nd.
Maybe.
All joking, in all seriousness, if you could make it, we were renting an Airbnb, you could stay with us. So I'm just saying, if you wanted to do something crazy like that to, I don't know, promote your book or something. So that's up to you. You can always talk to me later. TLJ Screwjob says, Hitler loved Wagner. Wagner wasn't played in Germany until the 90s. Empire stormtroopers based on the brown shirt, the pre-SS guys, stormtroopers. So TLJ Screwjob with the history lesson. I did not know about the Wagner not being played until the 90s stuff. And I don't know what the brown shirts were. So you guys know that? I mean, Michael, you probably knew this stuff.
I knew about the brown shirts, but I wasn't aware that Wagner wasn't played until did they say the 1990s?
It says the 90s.
Oh, in Germany, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I was like, well, of course it was played in the 1890s. I'm sure it was. No, that makes a little more sense. Yeah.
Oh, you were banned?
Probably. Some of it probably was for sure. Not because Wagner himself was alive during that point, but because they probably adopted it as some of their main marches and things like that.
Up next is our friend Winslow Friday. These types of articles are made solely to justify the author's useless degrees, pseudo-intellectual garbage from lazy, brainwashed students. I agree. I think that's one of the only reasons this shit would exist. And to be picked apart by the fandom menace. Real people with real takes on pop culture. I mean, we consume this shit, so I think we have a better take on it.
Yeah, it's like, don't you have anything, of value to do? I mean, going after an 80, what is he now? 89? How old is John Williams? 85, 80. going after a guy who's all he's ever done is compose music. That's it. He's just composed music, tried to make good movie scores. Yeah, go after the guy. Tell him that he's
7 New York.
Yeah, tell him that he's unwittingly prejudiced. That really adds value to our cultural discussion.
TLJ Screwjob says, or a live action Spider-Verse with all three guys. I would love that movie because
I would love that too. Yeah.
I was a real hard sell on Into the Spider-Verse. Like, I refused to see it in theaters. I was against it. Caught it on Netflix. Really, really enjoyed it. I'll take back what I said before the film. I thought it was a really good-looking film. And because it's alternate universes and it's not our mainline Peter Parker that you're changing, I can buy into it more. Is it my favorite Spider-Man movie? No, but I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. Have you seen Spider-Man?
Is that the Japanese show? Yeah.
Oh, so cool. It's so good.
With Leopardon?
Yeah.
I would love to get that.
Is it really good, or are you guys fucking around?
It's fun. I like it. It's like Spider-Man Sentai. It's what it is.
Yeah, it's like live action 70s era Sentai Japanese TV, but it's Spider-Man with a big mecha and martial arts kicking people all over the place.
And the suit is better than the Nicholas Hammond 1970s one.
Yes, totally is. Like,
I mean, I know this. You know what it's like to be really into something when they change it, you hate it. Like when they put Spider-Man's web shooters on the outside of his costume and give him a utility belt. Like, to me, the Spider-Man costume started out as perfect. Ditko drew it the one way, Romita slightly refined it, and it stayed the same. Oh, we made the eyes bigger, or we changed the highlights a little bit. Cool. But the design was perfect. Every time they add shit to it, I hate it.
Yeah.
I feel about a lot of the Holland stuff because it's like, yes, Tobey Maguire had the raised silver webbing, but the design of the suit was the same amount of webs on the face, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
The Japanese one, it's like...
AI.
Say what?
You didn't like his AI?
I hated that too, but that was... I can buy a little more into that or have less of a problem if the suit looks ripped from the comic book. That's the only character that I'm like, you don't have any like creative.
How about the fact that everybody that he knows has caught him as Spider-Man, even though he has spider sense?
Cecil, I hate it. Believe me, I hate. I don't even think his spider sense was developed in the first two movies, right? It's something he's starting to develop.
I don't know. They never really explained that right. That was just...
They didn't. TLJ Screwjob also says MCU Spidey is like 7 through 9, I think. It says the same. Wait. So MCU Spidey is like 7 through 9, I think. It says it's the same as what came before, but when you actually look, it's not.
I will forgive the MCU Spider-Man all of its sins. All of its sins. If in the opening of the third Spider-Man movie, like almost like a pre-plot Indiana Jones style adventure, it's Spider-Man and Iceman and Firestar stopping a big event in New York City. And if they do that for me, then I'll forgive them whatever comes next. And that's all I want to see. Now that they own the X-Men, that's all I want to see.
I don't know. I forgot about the spider sense thing. That fucking the whole gimmick of Spider-Man as a spider sense is that he doesn't even know what his next move is going to be. That's why he can avoid a guy with a machine gun and avoid every bullet. Instead, they took that away and gave him a James Bond suit. I was like, why? No.
Because they were trying to ride the Iron Man high, dude.
They want to sell more gear, like toys, more stuff to kids.
Sell the web shooters. That always worked.
So, like, we sell a lot of Iron Man shit. Iron Man's leaving. We need Spider-Man, Iron Man mix.
Well, that's probably the business decision behind it. TLJ Screwjob says, and this is probably mean, but Mahler/Rags are letting good writing get in the way of actually adapting the property. It's only because brand. Now, TLJ Screwjob, obviously you know this, but I was on that episode of hold on, let's put that there. Oh crap, there you go.
AER, is this better?
Is it too dark?
No, somebody's complaining that we're not on camera.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
I had my mask on up until 5 minutes ago. I was like, I can't believe I've been sitting here with a fucking mask on this whole time.
I mean, we're about to end the show, but there we go.
All right, hold on.
There we go. Hold on. Well, I'm actually waving as I'm not even featured there.
He said show feet. I'm like, ugh.
There.
Okay.
Here's a foot for you, my friend. If that's your thing. Remember, we don't kink shame on this show. There you go. Are those Nike? Those aren't Air Bruins, are they?
They're not Bruins. They're the closest I could make on Nike ID.
There's Cecil.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Do you see my Mego doll?
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Somebody made me an action figure and put it on a Star Wars card back and everything just a few days ago. Hold on, I'll grab it.
Cool. While he goes to grab that, I'll read our. We'll close out those super chats. So
I also got a Chucky mask that I got.
You gonna wear that?
Now should I put it on now?
Yeah, if you want. I mean, can you?
I can't. You know, I'm gonna have to cut the mouth out at some point to drink. Oh, that's awesome!
Oh, that is too cool.
Holy
shit! And everything.
Yeah. Damn.
Hold on, let me. Yeah, what am I doing? Hold on. There we go.
That's Timothy.
There we go. Sorry about that. I was just looking at it like this is too cool. Hey Salvador, can you make me one of those? So, Michael, what was the base for the figure?
Somebody found a Funko Reaction Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly, and they were like, that looks like Michael. And I'm like, yeah, because I look like generic brown-haired white guy number 3. Like, that's what I look like, you know?
I look like Bob the Goon from the 89.
With his kicking action. A company made an Andre the Giant figure. Super 7 was making one, and it looked more like me than the real Andre the Giant, and then people bitched, not about me, and they changed the head. So anybody, folks, if you want to make a figure of me, just get that, shorten the hair.
You have it?
No, it's not out yet. It's on pre-order still. So
nice.
Let's see. But I wanted to make a comment, TLJ Screwjob. When it comes to adapting, we were on that episode of the EFAP show. I do feel that they let the good writing get in the way of adapting Spider-Man. I think it's very important to adapt Spider-Man and have good writing. So, like, I think it was what Cecil was saying earlier. It's cool. It's a cool character. It's just not Spider-Man. So, that's how I feel about a TLJ Screwjob. King Archer says, Daisy's got a man jaw. No thanks. Daisy Ridley's teeth scare me. That's what scares me.
She's all right.
There's nothing wrong with the way she looks, but like, there's that picture of her in a dentist chair. She's like, and it's kind of scary.
She's got chiclet teeth.
But
for actors, it's good to have like big features. Like Ben Affleck's got a giant head, and like actors, you know, it kind of like works for her to be a little lantern jawed and big tooth.
Let's see. Stratos Radio Blues says, "Hey guys, happy belated New Year! Thank you." Thoughts on what it would take for DC to deliver a live-action Batman Beyond or Static Shock film? Any thoughts on this?
This is freaking me out too.
Sorry, I was freaked out by Cecil's mask, and I didn't hear what you said.
It freaked me out too.
Oh, I missed it. I was trying to, you know.
It's already off. It's really tight on my face.
To answer your question, Stratos Radio Blues, I think
Shock would be cool.
Static Shock would be cool, and I would watch it day one. I just don't want the media to make it this thing that it's not. Just let it be a good Static Shock movie. And if you have to touch on the racism, do the episode where Richie's parents wouldn't let him hang out with Virgil or some shit like that. If you have to touch it, but if not, just make it a cool story. I mean, But DC fucked up. I don't know if you guys read the New 52 Static Shock. They screwed that up big time, and I had to cancel the book. So
really, what happened?
It was just badly written. like very early on badly written to a point where I was like, this isn't Static Shock. I watched that show regularly every day. I thought it was the coolest thing. But the comic book was just, I don't know how to describe it. So I just said no thank you, and I canceled it. Or my subscription at least.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, Batman Beyond, do that shit like a Blade Runner style film.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
We're good to go.
Yeah. Get Keaton.
Yeah, get Keaton. Get somebody that looks vaguely like a Terry McGinnis. Don't change anything about the character and just give us a great story. And I'm there. And finally, Borgporg says, check out Nintendo documentary on YouTube. Is it from you, Borgporg? Because there's a lot of Nintendo documentaries. I usually watch those when I play Nintendo. So, yeah, that's that. So that is the last super chat of the evening, folks. We're going to head out here. If there's anything, Michael, say goodbye to the listeners.
Bye, listeners. Thanks for having me.
Tell everyone where they can find you at on the internet.
Yeah, you can find me at youtube.com/retroblasting, facebook.com/retroblasting, instagram.com/retroblasting, and twitter.com/retroblasting.
Oh.
And everybody, sub to Cecil Says. And next week I launch my comic book on Tuesday. So I'm going to be really busy Tuesday, but maybe I'll jump on for a minute just to plug it.
Please do.
All right.
All right, folks. So there we go. We're on camera for the High Council for once, but this concludes another episode. So I'll be back tomorrow later in the day with a MCU Morbius video. Make sure you guys check it out. We're talking about the deeper implications of that. You want to be on it? You can say hi to everybody.
I was just wondering how bad your lighting was.
Hey, Jesse.
Hi, guys. Hey, Cecil, what's up?
What's up?
In a minute. How are you?
Good. Good. Got him out there.
And hi, Richard Lessons.
Hey, how's it going, Jesse?
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you finally, too.
Yay.
Yeah, folks. So I'll be back tomorrow with that. We got that video about Star Wars in China. That was a lot of fun. And Andy of Avalon sent in 2 super chats that says, here are 2 pounds, lads. Thanks for the banter. Here are 2 pounds, lad. Thanks for the banter. Thank you very much for the super chats. And folks, thank you for watching. Catch us on Thursday night with the podcast. And as always, be excellent to each other. Oh, wait, I'm not done yet. Hold on. Yeah, sorry. I'm going to be on the Mindless Entertainment stream. I'm going to rush to get off of here so you can go live. I'm like, oh, wait, I got to go. So, folks, I'll be over on the Mindless Entertainment stream. Let me drop a link in the chat before I go.
What's up?
Yeah, you can watch me eat Chinese food and talk about Star Wars.
Chinese food.
I'm going to get some. I haven't had dinner yet. So, yeah, I'm quite hungry. So, yes, 1 second, folks. There's your stream, the cultural appropriation stream.
That's right.
There we go. So, yes, folks, if you want more of me, and we know you do, there you go. Catch me over on Mindless Entertainment. We'll have a lot of fun. Michael, Cecil, I'd like to thank you guys again for joining us, and hope to talk soon.
All right.
See you, man.
Take it
Bye,
easy.
bye, folks.